What's up, listeners? Welcome back to Predator vs. Movies. I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm
He's
Aidan.
back. And this is a podcast where we discuss and review the latest movies releases. We're going to start off with a non-spoiler review before diving into a deeper discussion of the film. Then we're going to ask the most important question: would this movie be better if the alien from Predator was in it? This week, we're going to be reviewing The Fabelmans, Spielberg's latest film, with our special guest, Ryan.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Oh, he did the thing.
There you go.
This is our second week with Ryan. Peter wanted to have a bromance or something, and so he's back. But first off, we're going to start with our news segment. So Spotify Wrapped came out, and as a creator on Spotify, we got some information about our podcast. So apparently, we are in the top 5 podcasts for 8 people.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks to those 8. And we're on the
likely all family and friends.
Probably. And we are in the top. Now, looking at this doesn't make sense. So I'm actually just going to double check. But it says for our top 10, it's also 8 people. And I'm starting to doubt that I wrote that correctly. So, okay, wait. Let's verify.
Maybe
okay. Yeah. So that was right. So everything I said before was right. So we're in the top 5 for 8 people. But we're in the top 10 podcasts for 10 people. Nice. I don't know is there overlap there? Like, are the 10,
I would assume
the 8,
that
and then
means
2
there are
more?
2 that are between 6 to 10.
Okay. I guess. Yeah. Anyways, so that's cool. Thanks for listening, you guys. Keep doing that. And then also what was interesting is apparently we've released 1,773 minutes of new content in the year. Only half a year for us, and that is apparently 85% more than other creators in the film and TV category. A big factor is how long our episodes get. So, I mean, yeah. And that was, again, only in half a year. So next year is going to be interesting for Spotify Wrapped. Anyways, Indiewire dropped their top 25 movies of the year, which is interesting seeing as the year's yet to be over, but maybe they've seen all of them. And there were some interesting things. So I'm going to pull it up on my phone, but I did have some notes. So first off, the top 5 is very interesting, mostly because mine is eerily similar is what I said. So if I can fucking find it, their top 5, I believe, was After Sun, Tar,
Everything
I think
Everywhere.
maybe, yeah, and then Banshees, and then Decision, right? Yeah, so that's very interesting because mine top 5 was After Sun, Tar, which is so far the same order. Then I put Decision before Everything Everywhere. I did not include Banshees, and then Batman made it to my top 5.
Okay, dude. First of all, what the fuck is Batman doing there? Like, come on, man.
It's actually
Batman's not top 5. I know you don't like Banshees, but like still, come on, man. Batman is not top 5.
It's actually not even on that list. It's not on the top 25.
This makes sense.
I like it. I like the Batman quite a bit.
It was good. It was good,
but not that
perfect.
good.
Dude, I think it's sick.
Well,
it's not perfect, but like it's so fun and
dude, the third act is so bad.
It's so refreshing. It's such a refreshing.
Sure, I agree with all these points. By the way, like I enjoy the aesthetic and the
third
plot.
act is not like people say that, but it's like the third act is fine. It's
dude,
not like
it's so disjointed, man.
People will say that and then defend like DC plot structures. So like,
no, absolutely not. I'm not saying that,
but I mean like
because like. I'm just saying, like, in my opinion, third act feels very disjointed, especially towards the end.
I have to be honest, I did not feel that way. I've seen it once, but like I did not find it to be disjointed. I think there was like 1 or 2 things that I didn't like about it, but I felt like it was the right way to wrap up that movie. But yeah, like just like the direction and the aesthetic of like a gothic Gotham.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
From the first scene, like the first scene in that movie, I was like,
yeah,
like it's so fun. Like that shot where it hangs on the, it's so good.
Yeah. But Ryan, I know you. Would you put Banshees where it lies?
I would put it. It's my number one. Of film of
Okay,
the year.
it's not that.
Number
It's my number.
one?
It's okay.
No.
It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Like I don't give 10 out of 10s often, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I've seen it twice in the theaters. I fucking adore it.
Okay,
Like,
Ryan.
Yeah.
Now, unlike this individual sitting in front of us named Alex, I adore the movie
Actually,
as
not
well.
sitting in front of you.
Well,
I'm
in my
actually
screen,
sitting
I guess.
I
I want to hear your reason for putting it at number one, because I like the movie too, but I don't think it's like that good, like number one good. You know what I mean?
I mean, to me, it's flawless for my personal taste. Like I just adore everything about it. Like the characters are fucking perfect. The story is great. It's very simple, but it's very like deep and diverse. Um, it's just the way it looks is very beautifully shot and choreographed. Um, and it's so fucking funny, but it's so depressing. Like I fucking love it. I know Alex is fucking fuming, but I just really adored it. You know, it's I can understand why people don't like it, and I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. But for my personal taste, I just fucking fell in love with it from the moment it like almost started.
Yeah, honestly,
it was great.
I agree with all your points. It's just I'm wondering what's like the X factor that took it, over the top for you. Because I gave it a 4 or a 4 out of 4.5. So like it's close to that 5 out of 5, but it's not like there yet.
My X factor?
Yeah,
I think everyone's X
I don't
factor
know.
is just.
I think it's an
Something
undefinable.
specific.
Yeah, I can't really describe exactly why it was a 10, rather than like a 9 instead. I think it's just after like rewatching it, if I still feel the same way, it's usually it goes to that 10 mark.
that's fair.
Yeah, like I just can't like from my first watch, I went in completely blind. But in my second watch, I tried to criticize it and see what I didn't like about it, and there was nothing I didn't like about it. So
That's fair.
why I'd give it a 10. Yeah.
I like the movie too.
Yeah, so another interesting thing about the list is that after Yang makes it to top 10, which is that movie stood out for me just because like I think that movie was really good and a lot of people just haven't gotten around to that one yet. So I think that it's a testament to how good that movie is.
Is it another A24 movie?
Yeah.
Yes, yes it is. And it's I think the director's name is Kogonada and he's done only one other film called Columbus, I think. And
I've heard of that.
They're both like very acclaimed movies. Also interesting is that Jackass Forever is number 21.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
A movie
also
I was not going to see, but now I am.
Top Gun is number 7.
Yeah.
So like Top Gun ranked very high too.
Also interesting is that Triangle is on the list.
Triangle's good. Okay. I don't understand all the hate, man. Like Triangle's good. Don't.
And it's only number 25. Like they didn't give it the award.
I'm not actually upset about it. But it wouldn't be on mine. It would be on mine. But
yeah, we get it. Top 25 though? It would have been on your top 25 for sure.
I don't know.
There's not that many good movies.
I guess I probably didn't see that many movies like enough to warrant it, but just if I was ever putting together a list of my favorite movies this year, it would never make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly though,
I'll say that.
One thing I would say about this list, it definitely made me want to see Decision to Leave like a lot more now.
Yeah, it's
like
great.
Beforehand, it's just like it's a fun thriller.
It's really great.
But now it's like it's top 5. Well, gotta watch it.
Yeah,
I think that's number 8 for me.
Yes, 5. Yeah. Oh, for you.
For me, it's like number 8. Yeah. I don't understand Fire Island though. Third? Yeah, that's fair. Fire Island making on the list is I didn't like that movie that much. I really wanted to like it, but it was just kind of I just didn't really give a shit. And Funny Pages was just fucking crude.
Well, I kind of wanted to see that one actually. Glass Onion is number 15. RRR is number 11. I think what's interesting though is Peter mentioned Top Gun is number 7, which beats out Nope at number 8.
I guess like it might just be like the cinematic achievement of Top Gun instead of like that being a good movie, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
think they're
Nope is
very.
A lot of
also
people
actually
like a
Nope
lot of
is
people
a
give
pretty
him very high scores on Letterboxd too. Like it's averaging 4.1 right now on Letterboxd.
Nope is
Which one?
also
Nope.
Top Gun. Yeah, like it's averaging higher than Nope. Nope is averaging
Well,
3.9.
doesn't matter. It's
sure, but
Indiewire's
Nope
choice.
in terms of like achievement, like Nope is also a pretty big achievement. Like I don't know of another movie
Yeah.
that's like that is that much like day as night that you
I
don't
think
even know about, and like this like in terms of like pretty indistinguishable CG, like I think it's pretty impressive.
And I think Nope is more challenging and interesting thematically and intellectually, whereas Top Gun is just kind of like, here's an old man flying planes and he's better than the youth and
Yeah,
he can still
like
do it kind of thing.
I love one of my favorite franchises ever is Mission Impossible, and I love those movies, and I generally like Tom Cruise action movies a lot, and I liked Top Gun, but I was like, I saw it after I heard so much of the hype, and I was just like, yeah, that was good. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, I wasn't blown away by it the same way a lot of other people were.
And I think it's my biggest problem is the B story with well, what's her name? Jennifer Connelly's character, because it's just so like generic 80s love interest,
It also
which
runs
is funny because
contrary
it's
to.
yeah,
It also
yeah,
runs
like
contrary.
it's
Have
just
you ever seen Tarantino explain his theory about the first Top Gun?
yeah. That's from it's in a movie, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
apparently in that movie, he's talking to Todd Field, the director of Tar.
Oh, really?
In the
I
scene,
didn't know
yeah.
that. That's great.
Which is so funny. Anyways, I think we've talked too much about the IndieWire top 25. Some other news: Titanic is being remastered and then re-released in the beginning of 2023. I see that as a very clear trying to make money for Avatar, trying to fund Avatar. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to see it really. Because James Cameron just keeps, I don't have any quotes written down, but like he keeps saying like he wants to go to like Avatar 6 or 7.
Yeah, he was saying like,
he
yeah,
hasn't even released 2.
Yeah, but like didn't he say like he's not gonna direct them anymore or like something?
Yes, but he's still gonna be like executive producing and funding, so like the financial thing is gonna be an issue for him. And yeah, like it's that's so weird. And we're gonna be reviewing Avatar 2 weeks from now, so we'll see. We'll see. We're gonna hop into
the first one was good.
Wrong. We're gonna hop into the Marvel corner.
The Marvel corner.
That's terrible. You need to work on that.
No, that's a good one.
Oh, Marvel corner! Pew, pew, pew.
No, we can't do the spoiler guns from.
Right, that's facts. Right.
Yeah,
These
so, so we got some news for Marvel. Kate Dickie from Game of Thrones and also the mother in The Vivitch, Robert. What is it? What do we call him? Bob Egg?
Robbie Eggs, the Eggman?
Robbie Eggs, the Witch. And so this is a little, possibly a spoiler, who's to say? So, plug your ears if you don't want to hear this, but for Loki season 2, she's going to be the villain, and it sounds like she might be a villainous future version of one Sylvie, which I think is a very interesting choice. The comparison was that she would be the Richard E. Grant, that like Richard E. Grant was classic Loki, and so she'll be classic Sylvie. So I think that's like a fantastic choice, and like probably one of the most interesting ways they could take this series instead of doing something that like random and kind of like keep going with the Kang thing. I'm glad that they're keeping it still Loki central. Yeah. Okay, so then the other news.
I mean, like I'm excited, but I haven't seen anything for Loki season 2, so I can't really comment.
I also didn't love Loki season 1 for me, so.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, there's been some behind the scenes stuff of Sylvie's back, and I think they were at like a McDonald's, and it seems like they're going to be hopping into the 1970s.
That's a while ago.
It's cool. Yeah, it was a while ago, but you said you haven't seen anything, and I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm talking about like actual footage, like trailers.
Sure, yeah. And then the other bit of Marvel news I have is also a rumor. So apparently, Ultron might be making a return. It's actually interesting that in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, there's a clear scene where Ultron would have been mentioned because what's her name? Shuri has an AI, and then her mom is like, AIs go bad. And Shuri, instead of saying like, yeah, like Ultron, she's like, no, that only happens in the movies.
Oh
Did
yeah,
Ultron
yeah,
not
that's true.
happen for them? Like, did they not know? He was stealing vibranium too, which makes it sound like he should have been on their radar even
Yeah,
more so.
double Wakanda. Yeah.
But anyway, so he was like, obviously not mentioned. Maybe they took it out on purpose. I don't know. But the consensus is that he'll probably make a return for Vision Quest, and I think that's a really obvious.
That's kind of lame,
still...
though.
That's
honestly.
a show I'm not gonna watch. So we'll see.
Peter,
no
why
shot.
is it kind of lame?
Like, dude,
What do you know about that?
I don't read that many comics, but I did read Age of Ultron, like the original comics, and
I remember,
that
yeah, you did do
plot line was sick. The fact that like they didn't do that for Avengers 2, and now they bring him back and not doing that, it's kind of lame, man.
I mean, they're not going to rehash Age of Ultron. They're going to try and use him in a different way because rehashing is boring. So that
True,
ship,
but like,
I know what you mean, but like that ship is sailed.
yeah. But I don't know. It might be interesting, but
yeah, like
I can't really get too
think-
hyped up about that, you know.
I think it'll be like, Vision is trying to figure out who he is, and part of who he is Ultron. So I think he'll have to grapple with that, and I think Ultron will make a return. I'm interested. I think Ultron is a really interesting character, and we haven't seen him at his most menacing. I know I saw on Twitter there was like someone posted a picture of Ultron, like an Ultimate Ultron kind of like form, like his top evolution form or whatever from a series called Annihilation Quest. And I'm not super familiar with the story and how Ultron specifically plays into it, but I know that like what I do know about Annihilation Quest is very interesting, and so I hope that they eventually get try to do that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways,
Phase
so,
11 Annihilation Quest.
Phase 11, yeah. We gotta head into the trailer part because we just got trailers, like crazy.
Should we do like a car motor
No.
sound for Trailer Park?
The trailer park. That's not what trailers sound like, but okay. So first up, kind of bleeding into the. Do you know what a trailer is? That's a motorbike. Starting up, we're gonna start with the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer. This was a pleasant surprise on a what was it, like a Thursday?
One of them days.
Or yeah, I think it was Thursday, and I've got to say, like, I'm so excited for this movie.
That's good.
Black Panther didn't do it for me as much as I was hoping that it would like save Marvel post Endgame, but I'm hoping that Guardians will do it. Like, I think there's a chance this one looks just as visually good as Black Panther did in those trailers, but maybe less so. Like, Black Panther looked very good in those trailers.
Yeah.
But I think it's a huge step up from where James Gunn was before. There's like some very good like there's like that insert shot of the medical instruments with the blood. I think was a really neat shot, and there's like the shot behind the High Evolutionary's head that looks really menacing. So I don't know. I think it looks good in that sense, and I mean somebody's gonna die, and I'm going to be crying in the theater. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's definitely one or both of spoilers if you really don't want to know, but like this is just my guess, so it's not founded on anything but what the trailer shows. It's either Drax and or Rocket. Like the chances of them making it out of that movie are slim to none. There's a shot of like Drax with like a bullet blaster wound in the middle of his chest, and they're like struggling like to carry him, and then you see a shot of Peter and not our Peter, Quill and Star-Lord and Mantis like freaking out crying, and I mean Mantis is really close with Drax, so I mean
Dude,
that
Rocket
seems like a good bet.
finding love in the third movie though. Ooh,
yeah. I mean, it also looks like
cheering
Rocket
for it.
is in like heaven in that one scene. Like there's the white Harry Potter like.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene where Harry Potter dies and then it's like a
Yeah.
white train station?
Oh
Like it looks
yeah,
like that, but for
yeah,
rocket.
yeah.
And there's the shot of him like lying on a table and like looking really weak. I don't think it's gonna be good for them, but I'm
Hey.
super excited, and it looks funny too.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but like there's like a spacesuit scene where like they're all wearing like really colorful spacesuits. And my
It's not
friend
fucking
said,
Among Us. It's not.
yeah,
Among
my
Us.
friend sent me that.
No.
It's like the Among Us crossover.
James Gunn
That was pretty
specifically like spoke out about that. He was like, "No, it's a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey because they have colorful suits in that too."
Yeah.
But of
And also,
course,
hey,
the,
I didn't expect them
internet
to
brained
show
youth.
Adam Warlock this early.
That was a little surprising, I have to say. But
Yeah.
looks.
And it was
cool.
a
He's
really
got
good
some-
shot. Like it's like the full face
Yeah.
too, and plus like the crystal in the forehead.
Yeah, whatever kind of gem that happens to be.
That is not the
probably
Mind Stone.
the soul gem. Soul. It's
Oh,
supposed to be the
soul.
soul.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I don't think they're gonna do that either. And then some people have been pointing out that there's someone who's like very white in the trailer, like a woman who's like platinum blonde hair and is very pale and is wearing like a white suit. And so I think they were saying it's Quasar, maybe. I'm trying to think of what the character's name is. Yeah, Phyla-Vell, known as Quasar. So I
No
know
idea
Aidan
who
has
that
no
is, man.
idea
You're
what the
just,
fuck
you're
he's
just making
talking about.
sounds.
It's Quasar.
She's another Guardians of the Galaxy roster character. So I get the sense that they're building a new roster because everyone's gonna fucking die. So you've got, Mantis, Quasar, Adam Warlock. I don't know who else, but yeah, I get the sense that a new team is forming as old characters keep leaving. So we got more trailers that we got to blast through. We're taking way too long. There was a Mario trailer.
Yep.
I think it looks
Actually,
good.
looks kind of cool. Yeah.
Yo,
And, I mean, the
Anya's voice is
acting-
very good, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
Nah, I don't like any of
Shut
the
up,
voice
Ryan.
acting, man. I don't like any of the voice acting. Even
Shut
Jack
up, bro.
Black kind of
Even
sucks,
Jack Black,
man.
really?
I didn't like it.
Okay, take that back.
I want to say it sucks, but it's not really good. It's the best one, but it's not really good. It just sounds so off. Like the animation style looks great, but I'm still mixed about it. It's still Illumination, man, and they fucking suck. They're
What?
awful. Illumination sucks. Are you serious? They fucking pump out generic garbage all the fucking time. Hell no. Hell no. No.
Hot
I
takes
like the
being thrown
Minions.
around.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
do
feel
not
that
agree
strong.
with-
I saw the
I-
trailer and I was just like, oh yeah, looks
Yeah.
cool.
But yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, monkey. Ooh yeah,
Yeah.
monkey. And
Donkey Kong.
Mario Kart. I know Mario Kart. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets
Um,
punched in the face. Ooh, yeah.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
Who's the guy voicing Luigi?
Charlie
Like,
Day.
It's
Yeah,
Charlie
like-
Day.
No. No.
My bar right now is Jake Gyllenhaal in Strange Worlds, which is the new Disney movie that nobody's heard of. But like seeing the trailers of him, it just sounds like Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's like so generic. Doesn't sound like he's doing a character at all. That's terrible voice acting. I think everyone, even Chris Pratt, is doing a better job than Jake Gyllenhaal in that movie. I think, even though like I don't like the voice Chris Pratt is doing, but like I don't feel that.
Like it's
Strongly
on and
have
off.
any
I
that
feel,
It's
it's
on and
like
off.
I feel like it's so subjective though, because if you look at Twitter, half the people is like, "Oh, French Mario is like miles ahead of Chris Pratt,
not.
so much better." And then the
The
other
one
half
who
is like,
was-
"Okay, French Mario is just pure cringe. Chris Pratt's so much better, etc."
I don't think that many people are saying Chris Pratt's doing a great job. But my take, I've actually come full circle on this, and I think this movie is going to be hilarious, including Chris Pratt's voice. I think I'm going to see it, and I'm going to love it. I think I'm going to be laughing my ass off in the theater.
Dude,
That's
you're
so
gonna be like the only guy above 20 in there.
No, Aidan and I are gonna watch it
Yeah,
together.
Alex and I'll see it together.
obviously. Yeah. No, I think, and we're gonna do a pod on it for sure.
Yeah.
No way,
there's-
are we? Okay.
For sure.
Yeah,
There's
talk about it
there's
so
more
much.
trailers to come. So there was a trailer for Cocaine Bear, a movie I've been hearing about for years now. I think that one is executive produced by Lord and Miller and directed by Elizabeth Banks, acclaimed filmmaker.
Let's go. I
Sorry,
love
there's
Elizabeth
An
Banks.
inside,
man.
it's an inside joke. We were joking about how I think it started with Peter saying oh yeah, it's an Elizabeth Banks movie, so it's gonna be super chaotic. And I said, name one Elizabeth Banks movie.
Okay.
So,
quote me correctly and accurately. I said this movie emits so much chaos energy. It sounds like it seems like an Elizabeth Banks movie because her character.
My paraphrasing was very faithful to what you said.
Not
at all.
It's not based on the fact that she's done chaotic movies. It's the fact that her character in movies all been chaotic. Okay.
Okay, sure. I feel like my paraphrasing was very faithful to your interpretation, but okay, sure. Anyways, so Cocaine Bear is described as a black comedy survival thriller, and it's not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be straight comedy, but I'm glad that they went in this direction. It just looks like oh shit, here's this super crazy, chaotic, one might say, bear on cocaine, and he's like gonna kill everybody. And I think that's great. I'm really excited for that.
Looks cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of that one. I can't remember the name of it, but it was from like the 80s. It was like a tiger
Sharknado
movie. What?
I don't know why.
Do you know what I'm talking about? But it was like on set. It was like a tiger, and I can't remember. But it reminded me of that film. I'm excited for it. It looks fun.
That's a movie.
No, not Wild Animals. It might be called Roar. I think that's what it's called.
Wait, like the Katy Perry
song?
music video?
Yeah, that yeah.
Anyway, so that looks fun. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny as a new trailer. Don't love the name, but I
I'm very skeptical of this trailer.
There's a lot of time travel in the trailer, I think.
I think you mean flashbacks.
Okay.
Indiana Jones, Endgame. We're gonna go back to all those movies. No.
He's gonna go back and retrieve every artifact from the other movies.
Yeah. No. Would you? I think what Peter's referring to is the de-aging technology, which looks probably the best I've ever seen.
I think it looks great.
Oh yeah.
It's very impressive. I'm
still very skeptical of this though.
I understand that.
Good choice of a director though. Have James Mangold since he did do Logan, and that was really well done for a resurrection type of franchise movie. So
well, I think what people like to forget is that he also did The Wolverine.
That's not a bad movie. It's not bad. It's good.
It's not a great movie.
It's fun.
It's cool.
And then he also did Ford v Ferrari, which I think was pretty good.
Yeah, solid.
A little forgettable.
The most dad movie ever made.
Until Top Gun then topped it. But yeah, and I mean Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I adore. So like, I think it'll be interesting to see that happen.
She's cool.
We got a trailer for The Mean One, the Grinch slasher film. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
It looks god awful. It looks like a Hallmark level production.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck or a shit, to be honest with you.
Neither? Wow.
Neither one.
We got a trailer for The Last of Us, the adaptation of the acclaimed video game. Yeah. And apparently by the creator of Chernobyl, which is a fantastic television series if you haven't seen it. I was skeptical and I wasn't going to cover it. And then I was like, well, I've got some time, so I'll just watch it. And I was grabbed pretty immediately. Like, it looks great. There was like the Take on Me was featured in the trailer, which is, I mean, that's
weird.
It was, I think
it works.
But that's like that, but it's like a parody of, it feels like it's a parody of that trailer trope where they just slow down like a pop song. You know what I mean?
I don't think it was a parody. I think it was just like,
No, I don't think they were trying to do
like
that.
one,
but that's what it feels like when
it
they
did not work for me at all.
Yeah, I thought it was. That's so stupid.
Yeah,
I think the show looks good.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. And then I mean, Daddy Pedro Pascal.
Dude, the guy's literally on fire. Like next
Mando.
year, he has Last of Us, and then in March he has Mando season 3. So
That's true.
The guy has a packed year already, and
That's not very many things you just listed. A packed year. 2 things. It also has Nick Offerman. Peter's on fire today.
Peter's coming with a different energy today.
Peter has a packed year, a chaotic year.
shut the fuck up.
It's gonna be so chaotic, dude. His year is gonna be so chaotic.
You're like the next Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah,
You're
it's like-
so
it's like a-
chaotic.
It's like Elizabeth Banks like directing his year. Like,
Yeah. The trailer also stars Nick Offerman from Parks and Rec, and he's great. I think he has long hair in this, which is weird, but anyways, last trailer we have to get through. Jesse Eisenberg's feature directorial debut, When You Finish Saving the World. The trailer for that came out. It stars Julianne Moore and Finn Wolfhard. I have only heard mixed to negative things about it, just from like the
Really?
festivals it's been to. On Letterboxd, it has a 3, which is better than it's better than like 2.5, so it's not like middle.
Yeah.
It's on the positive side of middle.
for Letterboxd though,
that's-
that's pretty bad.
It's pretty
Yeah,
bad. Like
it
like
is.
I don't
3
watch.
is pretty bad. Yeah.
I tend to not watch movies below like a 3.5. That's kind of my threshold. There's just so many movies out there that I'm like,
Right.
the better ones are 3.5 or higher. But I was kind of like, the trailer doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good.
No.
Yeah, I think actually looks interesting from the trailer.
And Julianne Moore, one of the greatest actors of all time for me. Love her
Sure. Yeah.
so
Sure.
much.
She's great.
I like so many
No,
of
she's
Ryan's
great, yeah.
takes just leave us going like, yeah, okay, sure.
Dude, have
Well,
you seen? No, she's so good. Have you seen Safe, the Todd Hayes film?
I've not.
No, I haven't.
Watch
No.
that and come back to me, and then you'll know why I say this.
Okay.
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 Yeah, I
Okay.
don't doubt you. I think she's
Okay.
great, but I just haven't thought about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Collective
She's
nodding.
no Elizabeth Banks, but she's pretty good.
Oh, no.
Well, like that's only if
Yeah.
you want that chaotic energy.
Collect yourselves. There's a great shot in the trailer where Finn Wolfhard is set up like one of those red lights for like,
Uh-huh.
hey, I'm filming here, like one of those things, or I'm recording, I'm live streaming here, you know,
I'm doing the thing.
one of those
Getting all
lights.
the poggers in
Yeah.
chat.
And it slowly,
I'm blogging right now.
I'm pogging right now.
and it slowly like pushes into the light. I like that. I like that shot.
Yeah, I like that
So
too.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll remain healthily skeptical. But we watched the movie, then we need to get on with this.
Okay.
It's a little movie called The Fabelmans. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner, who also they collabed together for Munich, Lincoln, and West Side Story. It stars Gabriel LaBelle, Michelle Williams, Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Judd Hirsch, and Julia Butters. I name her because she's the older
She's the Once
sister.
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
she's
like-
from Once Upon a Time.
'Cause
Yeah.
I was watching and I was like, I know that kid
She
from
seems
somewhere.
familiar. Yeah.
She was too old compared to like she was really young in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
From what I remember, she was
kids
like a
age
Like
quickly.
kid.
apparently she's only 13 in this movie. Like
Also,
she was-
yes, I
yeah.
did hear that, and I was like, she looks
That's
older. than
nuts,
that,
man.
but Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think she looks that much older than that.
Well, I think
Like
she
hearing
played.
it, I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
She played a very mature role. I felt like as the sister.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like heavy stuff. That
Yeah. DOP of this is Janusz Kaminski, and he's been Steven Spielberg's DOP for literally every single film since Schindler's List. Like
Okay.
20 plus films since 1993 has all been this guy. He's also collabing with John Williams. The movie is a healthy 2.5 hours runtime. We'll get into that. And it's 40. Its budget was $40 million. So we are going to play a little game. But before we play a little game, we were having a discussion. We should name the game. What's the name of the game? ABBA.
Nice. We should do
Yeah,
that. We should do that.
yeah.
We should sing that intro. every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So we had some name ideas. I think Ryan had one. What did you think?
Yeah. Metacritic.
Which I think is fire.
It's great.
Predacritic. It's
Yeah.
pretty compelling. I said Predator
Yeah.
versus Metacritic. It's a bit wordy. What was Peter's? Peter had one.
Did I?
Yeah, it's a great name,
Get-
actually. I think we should call it that.
I don't remember, man.
That's what we should call it.
Anyways, so maybe we'll put up a poll on Twitter to see what we should name it, just like we did Predators picks. And maybe we'll ignore it. Maybe we'll, I don't know. I'll probably come up with a name last minute. That's the best one, like I did last time. But yeah, so go check out our Twitter so you can, join in on the poll. That's Predator v Movies. We're gonna name this game. So for the game itself, though, there's a little website on the internet called Metacritic. It tabulates critics' scores of a movie and gives an average rating of 100. If it's a 60 or above, it's green. If it's an 80 or above, it's must see. If it's in the 50s, it's yellow. Or if it's in the 40s or below, it's red. I'm getting very good at describing this. So we're gonna guess where the Fabelmans lands. So how are we doing this again?
I won last time.
Winner go last.
No, that's
winner goes
advantage.
first.
Oh wait,
because,
winner go first, right?
Yeah, so Aidan goes first. I go last. Yeah.
I'm feeling a cool 72.
Dang, that's low, bro. Whoa.
That is low. Let's hear from. I want to hear from Ryan. Ryan, go next.
I think critics would get a love of this shit.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I'll go 85. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't even thinking 80s. 80s.
I man, I'll put
so
money on
maybe
it.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, yo, hey, maison. No.
Maison. Bonjour, maison. House, maison.
House.
Man, our riffing today is terrible. Peter, what do you think?
I'm with Ryan. I think 82.
Okay, I'm gonna play the game. 72, 82, halfway, 77. I would actually guess 80, but I'm gonna play the game.
Yeah.
Like I was taught by Aidan. So let's see where these Fable guys land. Fableman. Okay, that's yeah. So okay, 82, and Ryan, you guessed 85.
Yep.
I think Ryan's our winner. This is the unprecedented where the guest won. Yeah, it's an 84.
No,
let's go. I mean, it shouldn't be that high, but let's go.
I think it's fair.
Yeah,
I think it's fair. I think it like I said, I think 80 would have been good, but like I respect an 84. I think that's fine. Aidan seems to disagree on that one.
I liked this movie. I don't know. We'll get into it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
we'll get into it.
We'll get into it.
I lost.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I gotta do
But
the
hold on.
thing.
Order in the court.
Yeah.
There's actually an order of events here. So first off, we start off with our non-spoiler review.
Oh, that's
so
true.
Ryan, that is true. You're used to starting off, and this time you don't get to. So Ryan, as the winner, you get to decide who goes first for the non-spoiler review.
Oh, is this the okay?
Well, it's either a punishment, like, or you can just say like, yeah, I want to go first. So it's up to you.
Peter,
Ooh.
since you wanted me back.
Ooh. See, guys, I got perks. You
Bromance.
The bromance, it's real.
Okay, I thought this movie, like, there are like when I watch movies, there's like an objective opinion on the movie, and there's also a subjective opinion. Like, objectively, I think this movie.
What's happening there, Ryan?
What?
No,
Okay.
nothing you did, Peter. Just Ryan's.
You guys are making funny faces, and Peter's just saying like the most generic shit. Like, there are objective opinions and there are subjective opinions. Sorry,
Anyway,
Peter, you can continue.
I'll
about your
continue.
objective and subjective
So this movie, I thought objectively was excellent, and it's like there's nothing wrong with this movie. I thought, and it's excellent plot, great characters, amazing, like well acted. But subjectively, I didn't really get into it. Like, I didn't dig it as much as I wanted to. So I give it a 4 out of 5, just because like I didn't get into it that much personally. I think like this is just one thing I would say though. Like, when I go to movies, because the theater I go to are like, I think is a fairly popular one. You can really tell like the demographic a movie is intended to when you go see a movie with like a relatively crowded theater. For example, when I went to see like Triangle of Sadness, for example, a lot of young people, like people in their 20s or like teenagers. But this movie, I think the average age in that theater is probably like 40 plus. Like lots of old people in the theater. And like, Alex, I know this annoys the shit out of you, and a few of them clapped as the movie rolled credits.
No!
Yeah.
So fucking cringe. Oh my
So
God.
yeah, I think, but I do think this movie is for everybody though. Like, I think it's a very like lot of themes that everyone can relate to, and I think like looking back, because I know this is sort of like an biographical movie for Spielberg. Like it's like a great look at sort of like his early years, how he got started, why film is so important to him, and sort of like the inner turmoils that people don't really realize that he was going through. So, movie's good. I recommend to everybody. 4 out of 5.
Cool. Yeah, I think you're bringing up a good point. I feel like Spielberg is just at this point, he's of a different generation. And so the people of that generation and who grew up on his movies are always going to go out to see them, but they've just kind of lost their cultural like potency, dare I
Yeah.
say. Like if you have to think of like all of the movies he did in the last 20 years, so many of them are forgettable or people didn't go out and see. He did the BFG, he did Ready
Yeah.
Player One, he
Yeah.
did like
Post.
War Horse.
The Post,
People
yeah.
were not going out to see these movies.
Yeah,
Bridge of
War
Spies.
Horse. Holy shit. Yeah.
Like his best stuff is from his earlier
The early
period,
2000s.
90s,
Yeah.
80s, 70s. Not even like maybe Catch Me If You
I
Can.
really
but-
loved Catch Me If You Can, and
I
think
love
that's
that movie
early
Yeah, Catch Me If You Can is fun.
2000,
Yeah.
right?
An AI.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, but like, that was also
It's a
his
long time
The
ago.
Terminal period. So
Mhm.
like, I think
It's
yeah,
fun.
I think just like he has not been able to connect with younger audiences, and they're not going out to see his movies so much.
And also, like, it's kind of crazy how fast he pumps out movies. Like,
it is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
one a
West Side
year.
Story was like the last one, right?
Last
He
year.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. So Ryan, who should go next?
I'll go next.
Wait, did Peter give his stars and his Rex?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I might have
yeah.
missed it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I do my homework, Aidan, unlike you.
Wow, it's not homework.
So I saw this a while ago. When it first came out. Day of first showtime, and went in
Okay.
open-minded. Yeah, no, I'm that kind of cool guy. But I went in open-minded, and I was watching a lot of early Spielberg stuff, and I even watched a documentary about him, which was about a lot of his films that he made and about his personal life. And I remember the first 10, 20 minutes, I started like tearing up. Like it was like
Whoa.
really good. And I just really loved it for a while. And it kept going, and it was still good. And like at first it was like a 4 out of 5 for me. And then as I just sat back and let it like digest with me, it kind of just got worse and worse the more I thought about it. Like I think it's now like a 6 out of 10 for me. I think
Really?
right now it's a 7 out of 10, but like a 6 out of 10. Like looking back, it's like to me it's not that good. Like it's so cheesy, so overly sentimental. Like I gotta love it for the charm, and like obviously it's Spielberg's passion project. Um, but fuck, it just doesn't sit well with me after watching
Sure.
it. I would go more into it, but yeah,
We'll get into
yeah,
it.
yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into things. But no, great performances though. Well, okay, yeah. I'm gonna
We'll
stop.
get into it.
Yeah. So I think for me, I would recommend it to most people. I do think it's like the best picture, for like the Oscars. So it's kind of for everybody. That kind of movie.
You mean like it's in the best picture running, like nomination.
Oh, it's gonna
like,
win.
You don't.
Oh, it's gonna win. I can nearly
I don't.
guarantee
I know that you're
very
after seeing it. Like I get your point, but I don't think.
What else?
No, I
What
don't think so.
else? What
Dude,
else?
there's so many good films this year. We literally
What
just
else
did the top
fits that?
25.
What else
Like he's
fits
got
that?
like the
I
Oscars
understand
is very
your point.
particular, but
I don't
I
think
don't
nothing
agree.
else can win it. I would put like $20 on it right now.
I put 20, not
Okay.
winning.
Okay,
Or deal
Shake
with
on
it.
it.
We'll see. We'll see.
shake on
This
it.
is permanent.
Yeah, this is permanent. You're about to kill our
Do you think-
bromance, man.
Everything Everywhere could win.
Yeah, I think that's
Mm-mm.
winning. I think I was gonna
Nah.
say.
Better.
I
I
think
don't
that's.
think it's
easily-
better. No,
I
it's
think-
easily
I
better,
actually-
but
I think
don't
it's a
so.
slam dunk for the Oscars. I think they're absolutely gonna pick Everything Everywhere.
Nah, I don't
Aiden
think
and
so.
me are on the same team.
Yeah.
Dude,
I would love it.
Um,
I would
what
love
if-
it. I would love it, but
It was so popular. If it was more underground, then I would agree with you. But it was so popular, and like the layman
huge
audience loved it, and the film guy audience loved it. It's so easy for the Oscars to do it. Why would they not pick it?
Yeah.
Dude, what if
I
when
think-
the nominations
Also-
come out and the Fableman's not even on it?
I
Oh,
will
also
be
to look
nominated.
at it-
definitely will be
to
nominated.
To look at
sure.
it cynically, like the it's culturally more interesting than the
Yeah.
Fabelmans, I think. Right? So like
Oh yeah, it is.
look at the past couple years. Wait, I want to pull this up.
It's
for-
also like think
Coda.
about this.
Last
think
year,
about
Coda won.
okay, but think about this. What is one of the biggest complaints that people have been leveling against the Oscars? People have been saying there should be a category that accounts for like superhero movies and like these big
Yeah.
and this movie is a multiverse movie, the like big thing in the blockbuster realm. It's a multiverse adventure, but it's like an art film too. It's so like it's good marketing for them to pick it. Like it's such a
Yeah.
it's there. They like the alley oop is like their hand is on the
The
ball,
alley-
like and they're just you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
so
I mean, it
Yeah.
should, but I don't think that never happens like that. I mean, the last time that ever something happened like that was like Parasite, and after that, it's just been
Which was-
like Coda
okay,
winning.
well, look at.
Coda,
I would
Coda,
to
like
look-
no one saw
I know.
Coda.
Okay, oh, Jesus Christ. I want to
Sorry.
look at the last couple of years. So last year was Coda.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
that, Nomadland, Parasite,
Yeah.
Green Book, Shape of Water, Moonlight, and so on and so on. I feel like there's a bit of a trend for stories about, non-white characters or by non-white creators are getting featured a lot, and for good reason. Like some of those movies are fantastic, but I feel like Everything Everywhere hits that niche very well. It's a movie that, again, was very good, very well received, whereas Steven Spielberg has been around forever and probably has already won Best Picture, I think, maybe?
I think
I actually don't
Schindler's
know.
List, I think, but that just might be it. I think just Schindler's
Let
List.
me check. Yes, you were correct. Schindler's List did win.
because I was supposed to say if he hadn't won, then I might give you a bit more props because it might
It's
be like,
not an
oh, it's his
overdue
passion
thing,
project. Yeah, but it's not
Yeah,
because he won. So
But it's like all the humor and
not that
everything
good
everywhere and
either,
everywhere
like-
is so over the top, and like the older audience is not gonna connect to everything everywhere
okay.
all at once at all.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they're not aiming for like old.
I could see
people, I
older
don't think.
Well, they're
members of
they're
the
for the
Academy.
general public, like everybody.
No, I know, but like I think that everyone like under like 35-ish, 35, 40-ish would like Everything Everywhere. And I think that's
The issue is-
main.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Dude,
issue.
and
is, like,
also
what is
like
the
I think the
Shut up. What's the
theme-
demographic of the Academy? Because those are the voters, right?
Right.
So I feel like a lot of them are skew older, even though there are, up and coming actors and creators who are going to be part of that. But I can see why they would push away from Everything Everywhere and be like,
Yeah,
it's just
which
too
I
much.
think they will.
It's a lot. So
yeah.
we'll see. Anyways, we should
That's
stop
why I
talking
think
about
they'll-
this.
Yeah.
Let's
But
hear from.
I didn't get my
Who-
rating. Sorry.
You
Like
sure
a
did.
light 7 out of 10 for now. Maybe a 6
Yep.
later on. But yeah, I recommend it.
Let's hear from Aidan. What do you think?
Cool. So I can echo some points from both of you. I agree that I think this movie is pretty much for everyone. I don't think anyone is gonna see this and be like, that fucking sucked. Like it was,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it was good and it was engaging. there was a lot that I thought was really interesting in it. There were some themes that I thought were actually really interesting. There was some good character work. But I agree, it's very overly sentimental. It's like I want to talk about this more after, but I was realizing towards the end, I was like, a lot of these scenes are kind of the same sort of scene happening over and over and over again. Um, but I think, I mean, but at the same time, like Spielberg is a great director, and like you can see it, like the choices of how a scene is covered is always, in my opinion, like very spot on in this movie. I think it's always great. Um, I have some qualms with some of. No, we'll get into something. Never
Oh
mind.
man, there's qualms. Oh no.
Yeah. But I think I'm sitting at a 3.5 stars. So it's like similar to you, Ryan, 7 out of 10. And I would recommend it. I think anyone would like this movie.
Cool. Yeah. I feel like our consensus is pretty like close to everybody. I think there's a big issue in that Spielberg co-wrote this film. There's just not enough distance for him, so I did find that it's a lot of like, it sounds like a grandpa telling you their life story, going, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it doesn't really flow as a story. Okay, grandpa, but as you know, as far as a director, I think Spielberg, nails it again. Like he's a very talented director. It's kind of weird for such a contained story. I haven't really like most of his niche is the action adventure genre, and we see in the film him discovering that. And so to see then that style have to be kind of not even like pared down, but like a little bit to a more contained story where not a lot is happening. I feel like I'm missing that action and adventure because the story just doesn't have that as part of it. I think I don't know, like there were parts that made me laugh a lot. There were parts that made me kind of like, close to tear up, like make me feel like emotional. And so like he's still like I said, Spielberg, shut the fuck up, Peter. Making fun of me again. Jesus. Anyways, oh Jesus, we'll get into it. But like, I think it's I think it was all right. It's an all right movie. It's not great, Spielberg has many, many films that are better than this. And so I don't know, like I think I could give it a 4. Okay. I think a 4 is generous enough. I think a 3 is maybe too low, but I completely agree with a 3.5. It's either that or a 4 for me. And I would recommend people go see this. I think it's for everyone.
I was also bouncing between 3.5 and 4, very much.
Yeah. But so before we get into our full discussion of the movie, we have to do a synopsis. And I'm so sorry, Aidan, but you were the loser of the game.
Dude, it's hard, man, for this
movie.
Can
you time me? Yeah, because it is just things happening, like you said. So
yeah. I feel like it's always hard. We're never like, oh, this is gonna be easy,
Well, like After Sun would have been easy to do. I think I don't remember when we.
Well, After Sun's short, man. This movie's 2 hours 30 minutes long.
Okay.
Anyways, so we're gonna do our 2-minute synopsis. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we are dealing with a coming-of-age story that is like semi-autobiographical of Steven Spielberg's life. We start out with him as a very young boy when he sees his first movie, and it's like a train and like big explosion. And so then he gets a train for Christmas, and he like wants to make it like have the crash, and then it's like, oh, not Christmas, Hanukkah. He gets the train for St. Peter's Day. He gets the train for Hanukkah, and then he records it because he like wants to feel control over it, and he's like, oh, I like movies and shit. And so then we follow him as he grows up, and as he grows up, we learn that his parents have maybe not the greatest relationship. The mom kind of has a relationship with Seth Rogen, who is the dad's friend. They move around a lot. They bounce from New Jersey to Phoenix. The mom has some issues with depression situation that they struggle with. At one point, Sam, who is the Spielberg insert character, discovers through one of the films that he was recording that his mom clearly has like in love with Seth Rogen. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to do it. Too little, too late. Yeah. And so, but then he kind of forms a bit of a bond with her, and then they move to California after a while to get away from Seth Rogen, but then it doesn't work.
That's not why.
That's like part of the reason, but also Paul Dano has a new job. Paul Dano's the dad. But then the mom in the end is like, I'm getting a divorce. I'm going to go back to Seth Rogen. And then it ends, and Sam guy, main guy, he meets with David Lynch, and I forget who he's playing. But David Lynch is playing a director when he sees him, John Ford, and then that's it. And he does the movies.
I will say some things were missed. I think
there's a lot.
It's important to mention. Yeah, he when Sammy moves to not SoCal, Northern California, there's a lot of anti-Semitism at his high school.
Oh, that's true.
And so there's some bullies that are bullies, and they bully him. And he meets a girl who is a Jesus-loving kind of crazy person, but I guess that's my own subjective opinion on that. And they start dating, and he gives up film for a while because of what it did and how he captured the affair on camera. So he was kind of like, I'm not going to do this anymore. But then he falls back in love with it. And I think there's a monkey.
Yeah.
Mom, and he broke up with the girlfriend. Well, she broke up with him.
She broke up with him because he wanted her to. He said, I love you to her.
Go with him to Hollywood, basically. Yeah. And he later explained that, it's like a marriage proposal, and it's like too.
He said that it was everything but a marriage.
Yeah.
Like he. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Okay, so we're gonna get into our full discussion of the film. So first off, let's talk about that Spielberg direction and also cinematography. It's very Spielberg, I have to say.
It is very Spielberg.
Yeah.
I think right from the first scene, I think one thing Spielberg does great is camera motion in scenes.
Yeah.
I think and from the very first scene, you can see it, it hangs on the boy, and then it very naturally goes down when the dad ducks down, and everything feels like the marriage of the motion of the camera with the motion of the characters and the blocking always feels great. I think it always, I think it works really well. I think it's great.
Yeah, he's a big crane guy. He uses lots of crane shots and dollies for sure. Yeah,
I will say there's two aspects I didn't like about it. One is the film. So when Sammy's using the film, it looks so fucking realistic, and it's so way too modern. You see what is shot on the film, and it looks way too modern. It doesn't look like film at all. Sure. It's just shot on actual digital cameras instead of being that grainy film 70s kind of look, and it really threw me off of it. And
I also do know, I just want to respond to that, I do know that Spielberg purposefully made his films better than they were.
That has to be the case.
He upped the production value of his childhood short films so that it wasn't just probably closer to our experience with short films, which are they're okay, but they're not.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny. It's not quite as humbling as you might hope, and it makes me feel like shit. And we'll get into that.
Yeah, there was some of that.
But the other part was a lot of the car scenes, especially one when it was thunderstorming. That felt very staged. Other than that, though, it's pretty great.
Dude, the tornado scene is actually kind of funny though, because it when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, no way, this turns into an action movie. This has to be a shot of one of the movies he filmed or something. But then it's a real scene in the movie, It felt a little out of place, but it's what it is.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. This kind of lends itself more to the next point, but that scene just kind of went absolutely nowhere. I have no idea why that was in the movie. What the purpose was it just ends, and I was like, what? That's it? Like
Cool
there was
billboard.
no.
Well,
Okay, sure, I guess.
I agreed when I first saw it, but the thing I think in the context of the whole movie, it makes a little bit more sense. Like it sets
Yeah,
up
about
that the mom is a little bit
Missy.
erratic and will do things
Mhm.
like that, and it also sets up that because I was really confused. I was like, why is she so upset? I really didn't understand that, and then I was like, oh, she's leaving her home. Like that's what it is, and like she's not sure about like, and there was a good chance that Seth
Mm.
Rogen wasn't going to come with him, and now he is, and it's like it's the
Right,
beginning of that whole arc. Like, and I was like, oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I actually, so I was with you guys there, but as the movie went on, I was like, I actually do like that scene because it's something that it sticks out to you, and I think that's kind of intentional because I think you're supposed to keep that in the back of your mind as the conflict starts to develop a little bit more.
That's fair. I just think it's really forced though. Like it just ruins the flow of the film. There's a lot of scenes like that that just are pretty pointless. Like I understand it starts to create the arc, but there's way better ways you can do that and show that she's starting to go through that process.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with that. I think that there are a lot of scenes that do disrupt the flow of this film. There are a lot of scenes that don't need to be here, but I actually quite like this scene in retrospect. I might
Okay.
agree with you that the way it's covered is kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, Peter.
Um, uh, I just want to bring up like another cinematography point if we're okay to move on.
Absolutely, no, I do.
I really loved all the sort of like all the scenes featuring like the more ancient film equipment that he uses, like especially like in the cutting room, that like the
Mhm.
different ways he cuts with like all the sort of like film like literally taped onto his desk,
And
and
the
like
sound was really good in those sequences too.
that, and
Yeah.
also like I felt like the lighting as well,
Mm.
fantastic, and like the way it's sort of like I remember this one scene where only like his face is dark, but then his eyes are lit up because he's looking into sort of like the little screen at
Mm.
the cutting station, and I thought like these were very pretty, and
Yeah.
like these scenes like suppose like they're like the montages that's supposed to give you this sort of like more immerse you into the moment, and also sort of give you like sort of like a satisfying sense when you're watching it. But like I think like he's done it so well that they feel immersive, and on top of that I feel like like you give a real sense of appreciation of the technology back then, and like also how much like how far the technology has come. I feel like.
Cool, yeah. No, I did like those scenes, yeah.
Yeah, I just if we're moving on from this point, I just have two. They're like just two quick things I want to shout out before we do. Yeah, so I think one of the things I like about this movie is that I think like in film school, like one of the things I've noticed that like a lot of people seem to be really drawn to like flashy color and like oh it's like purple and it's green and it's like this and it's like and you have like these LED colors or these gels and that can be cool. Like using like colors and intense shadows and stuff can be very cool, but I think like it is I think more impressive to make something that's like really visually works with like a very natural sort of feel. And I think this movie is a good example of that. I think that like an example of like really simple but well done cinematography is it's a scene where the mom is playing piano, and in the beginning while she's playing, it's like this long single shot that kind of just pulls out a little bit and shows each character. And then the moment she stops playing, it cuts and suddenly we're on these static shots, like just little things like that. Like it's very simple and it's well done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
It, and
Hold on. I just want to say that, like, in directing, I liked how Paul Dano was framed. I feel like a lot of his scenes, he's framed in a lower angle, and the one that I liked the most was one of his last shots.
Yeah.
Oh,
When he's like when they're opening the letters, and it's just a shot of it's his head, and he's in like the lower portion of the screen, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of headspace, and I was
And
just
it's just like the corner of the room
whoa.
behind him. Yeah.
Yeah, like the in
Yeah.
the ceiling, the corner of the ceiling, yeah.
Yeah.
And like yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself point wise, but like I just like that shot like actually surprised me for a Spielberg film. Like that was not a Spielberg shot from
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
would think of like generally. So I was really impressed by that for sure.
I don't know if you guys remember, but like right before the uncle came in, she sort of has this sort of like nightmare / dream sequence where she receives a phone call.
Yep.
The shot where sort of Paul Dano slowly rises behind her, while like they're both sort of lying sideways on the bed, but you only see like one of Paul Dano's eyes. That shot I thought it was really pretty, and like the way they sort of played around with the focus as well. Sometimes it's on the phone, sometimes it's on the mom, and sometimes it's on Paul Dano. Like that was really great.
It's very Bergman in the
Yeah,
cutting
yeah,
like
yeah.
faces in half with the
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was also just gonna say, I think that's also a testament to like Steven Spielberg, especially in this movie, like is able to like have entire scenes that are just one shot and you don't notice because it still feels like
Yeah.
very dynamic and the blocking works so well. And like you said, Peter, like the change of focus and like yeah, it's just like all the information is conveyed so concisely within the one shot. So why cover it differently? And there's a lot of that in this movie that I really like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing I have to say about directing is a negative. Unfortunately, it's more towards like how the performances were
Yes, I
done, and
think I'll
that's
probably
a
have a
separate
similar point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
that's a separate point. So I'm going to save most of it for there. But I found that there, especially towards the beginning, there was just like really strange pauses, like
Yeah.
almost like Spielberg thinks that's funny, and it's definitely not funny. Is for like, and I think it has to do with the fact that those are his memories. So it was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a classic grandma singer, and it's like I don't know who these characters are yet. That's
Yeah.
not a funny thing they just said, and
Yeah.
now it's just super awkward while we wait for someone to do something. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I felt like in the beginning I was like, wow, they're kind of acting like cartoon people.
Yes.
And then it
Yes.
was like
Do you want to talk about?
and I
We can
got
jump to
into
that
it.
now.
Let's go into performances just
Yeah.
because we're naturally there. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I got used to it like after like 20 minutes
Mhm.
in, but I actually like immediately the two performances that I was like, I don't know if I like this was Paul Dano and Michelle Williams. Those were the
Yes.
two those are the
Yes.
two where
Really?
I was like, I don't know about this. They're kind of weird. And all the other characters kind of felt like they were normal people, but then those characters felt like they were cartoon sitcom people.
Yes.
Like
Sitcom.
like
Yes.
Yeah.
and Paul Dano, like his character is always talking like he's explaining something, like he feels like he's performing to me all the time. But
Really?
I got used to it as it went on, and I found it charming, and I felt like it was. I think Steven Spielberg is an astute enough director that I think this was intentional, and it has to be because both Michelle Williams and Paul Dano act like this,
Mhm.
and I think that it's it's a specific choice that the parents act like this because it's kind of like I don't know this idea of like like your memory of your parents isn't who they are, you just have this like sense of them, you know what I mean? And I think
Sure. I
I
guess. Yeah.
well like your memory of anyone because like I'm assuming that Spielberg's parents are not alive anymore. I don't know that, but
He did wait to make this movie until they passed away, which I
okay.
think is
Oh,
a
really?
little dark, but also like totally fair. Like, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did read that he didn't want them to have a negative reaction to this, so he did
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, just wait. So
Yeah, so I think that there's probably some intentionality to it, and I got used to it and I thought it was fine after a while, but it was weird in the beginning.
Ryan.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the Michelle Williams part. I feel like she was acting way too much. But I did like Paul Dano's performance throughout it. I thought he was one of the better performances. But to me, the best and Sammy was really good too. He was surprisingly really well
I thought he was really good too.
executed. Yeah. But my favorite was definitely Judd Hurst. I felt he just when he came in, he's
Who
the
is
uncle.
that?
He's the uncle.
It's a great uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was fucking fantastic in it. Yeah. And there's another one. Fucking lost it. Uh,
Julia Butters.
There's someone else I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth
Yeah,
Rogen
the
fucking
character.
sucks, dude. He should not have been in
Oh,
this
really?
film. I did not
Really?
like him. I did not like him at all.
I
Okay.
actually did like him.
No.
in this one.
Yeah.
I didn't like
thought
it.
was okay.
I didn't like it. Maybe I'm just too used to Seth Rogen by now that I
Sure.
just see him as Seth Rogen. But every time he came on screen, he just threw me off for a loop, and I didn't like it at all. No
That's
offense to
interesting.
him. No offense to him, but nah.
To your Seth Rogen point, actually, no, sorry. First, I'm going to respond to Aidan, and then I'll get onto that.
Yeah.
I wrote very quickly in my notebook like that the performances were super hammed up. That was a phrase I used. They're just like Michelle Williams keeps saying "darling" and like
Yeah.
and,
Movies are
it's very
dreams.
performative.
Yeah.
Yeah, movies are
Yeah.
dreams, and Paul Dano's playing like a very obviously kind of like quirky character who is only thinking about the technical aspects. And
Yeah.
he's like, son, it's 24 frames per second, and like it's just it's a caricature of his parents, I think, and not such a grounded or realistic portrayal.
Mhm.
Now, who am I to say, having not met the Fabelmans or the Spielbergs, but that's just and the moment where the monkey lands on Paul Dano felt
Yes.
straight out of a sitcom, and he's
Yeah.
like,
Big time.
"What's on my shoulder?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wait for
Yeah.
a laugh track kind of thing. Like it was just it was very bizarre, and I don't know why Spielberg did that, but it does kind of feel like intentional because I think Aidan's right. There's no way at this point in Spielberg's career he would have let that kind of thing like just happen.
Yeah.
For the Rogan point, though, I actually have to say that his performance was very convincing to me,
I
and
agree.
probably more naturalistic than either of the parents. And I think
definitely.
it's
Nah,
it's
no.
it's a classic case of a comedic actor putting in a great dramatic role. Now it's not like his role is small, so it's not like there's been much better dramatic performances. So like I actually wrote some down. So like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems,
Punch Drunk
Steve
Love, too.
Carell in something. I
Foxcatcher.
already forget what it was.
Foxcatcher,
Which
Beautiful Boy,
He's
or
done several, doesn't
Foxcatcher. Yeah.
Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine, Bob
Truman Show.
Odenkirk in that show. that
Better
I'm
Call
forgetting the
Saul.
name of. Thank you.
Yeah.
So like comedic actors, it's always so fun to see them do that, and I think even though like he's not doing like anything super serious, it's still fairly lighthearted. I found his performance believable, and I was never taken out by his performance, and like he felt like he belonged in that world. I think, if anything, the last thing I have about performances is that I wish there was more of what I saw from Paul Dano at the end, because I love Paul Dano, and
Yeah.
when he started getting like frustrated and like showing emotion, I was like, where was this guy the whole time? Why was the movie not following him? There's very clearly like a favoritism going on, and the movie kind of explains why towards Michelle Williams as his mom. But I'm curious about like Paul Dano and like how he felt about all these things. And like I said, like when he's framed in that way, it was suddenly like, oh, here's a character who seems to be like there's something going on there, and I never got that because he was too busy being a goofy little guy for so
I don't
long, and
know.
then that's how I felt.
No, I
we're-
definitely see that. Sorry. For the Paul Dano part, I just want to expand on that. Sorry, Peter. Like when he came into Sammy's room and told him to make that film and stuff like that, like like moments
Yeah.
like that, I felt were
Yeah, that
really
was a
great.
good moment.
I do think there are like hammed up moments, but I do think for him they work. Yeah, I just wanted to add that in. Like before that scene, there was a lot of like really great subtle moments when he was like going through dealing with like his wife and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter.
Okay, actually, I disagree with the Paul Dano and Michelle Williams point. I think the movie is set up in a way that you're sort of like peeling an onion almost. Like at first you
glass
see like the
onion.
very at first you see the very sort of like surface level of the character, where like the parents are is like all good, like he's a kid, his parents, they seem
Oh.
very lovely, and then like we first sort of see like this minor conflict between Paul Dano and Michelle Williams in the bedroom, where it's like, hey, he purposely crashed the train, what's up with that? And then I think it's like rivalry on 2 points. One is sort of like you mentioned, the artist versus the scientist. One sort of views the world more like in a scientific, uh, like rules, laws, everything can be explained, while the other one appreciates the art and the beauty in the world. So like a clash on this point, and then second is, I guess, like they love each other. Like they obviously, like Michelle Williams and Paul Dano obviously love each other, but in very different ways. And like these are slowly revealed throughout the movie by the conflicts that whether it's Michelle Williams' character losing her mother, or like the huge drama about the affair. Like like these events add layer and depth to the character, and I didn't find that approach like bad at all. Like I thought it was very cool how like throughout the movie I'm learning more and more, and these characters start to have more and more depth as the movie goes on. So, and I can't believe no one gave this shout out, but like the character who played Sammy for the most of the movie, fantastic. Absolutely loved his performance. Oh, you did?
I
I'm
did,
sorry.
but no,
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
I'm sorry. I loved his performance. It was very
good.
convincing, and somehow I don't know why, but like at the very last scene, like in the apartment. Sorry, not at the very last scene. Like in the in like the apartment, he seemed like when he's looking up, he seemed like Nathan Fielder to me for some reason. Like he looked like Nathan Fielder. I don't know why. I know it's the same actor, but like I don't know. And also just a huge shout out to Julia Butters. I thought like I thought she's a lot older, but then I looked it up and she's only like 13 like this year. And I think like that's crazy, like the fact that she's able to play complex character at such a young age is fantastic.
Yeah, I actually like. It's funny you saying that, Peter. I do kind of agree with you. I think like I found that like as we started learning about the interpersonal conflicts more and more, that is when the characters started to feel more real to me, and it did very much. I do think it's intentional that we don't really see anything too explicit from Paul Dano until like the conflict has like really started to snowball, and I think that there is a lot of subtlety. Like I think you do sense that there's something, even in the scene where it's when Sam first discovers that the affair is happening, like and he's editing, and we're intercutting between just a scene of Michelle Williams and Paul Dano just sitting in the living room together.
Right.
And I think on his face, like I think there's something there, and I think that I do think that that might be what the intention is that you present them kind of as these like, oh dear, movies are dreams, and you think that they're going to wind up being like, oh, they were so encouraging, and they were in their own way, but there was a lot more to it than that, and I think that might have been the point in the end.
Yeah, and I think like the one thing that hit it home for me is when she said that, like I tried to bring this like affair thing up to your dad multiple times, but like I just can't, and like I would just say, oh, can you fix the satellite, the antenna for me, the satellite antenna for me, and he would do it because like that's just who he is as a character and as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. There is one performance that we all missed.
Oh yeah,
David Lynch at the end as John Ford.
yeah, that was great.
It was so fucking good.
hilarious.
I fucking loved it
Yeah.
so much. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to like light that
And he's
cigar for
fucking his
hours.
eyes like out. Oh, it was so fucking good. It was just like really, and it worked really well that it was David Lynch, because as like us, pretentious filmmakers,
One might
Frustrated,
say,
jealous, and
yeah, I forgot what it was. Yeah, frustrated. Yeah. But for us, like, we can't really like. I do love a lot of John Ford movies, but we don't really connect to John Ford. So having someone like David Lynch, who is like a
Yeah,
director
I see
that
what you mean.
is iconic.
And
It
he's one
worked
of the
really
film
well.
school guys.
Yeah,
now.
one of the big film school
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
was
no,
such a great performance too.
it was a fun cameo for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
So we kind of hinted at this before, but this was an autobiography, sort of, in that like it's based on Spielberg's real life, and he was involved in the script writing, which I think most of us ended up having problems with. Um, it's interesting. This is his first script that he's co-written or written since AI, artificial intelligence, which was like
Oh
20 years
wow.
ago. Yeah, so it's been a while, and I don't think like that the writing is, it's not bad. It's
Mm.
just that there's not enough emotional distance with the subject material for him, and I do feel like a lot of it is just him thinking about like his memories and being, and like I said earlier, like it's grandpa going, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it's, it's a it doesn't work as a screenplay. That's the issue. It's one thing to be like a collection of memories, but there's just not enough like flow to it, and dare I say a lack of focus. I think he finds the theme in his childhood for sure, and how it's like art and how his movie making was, you know, intertwined with his parents' divorce, but yeah, I do feel like the script was a weak point. I think Peter had his hand up first.
Okay, I completely disagree. I
Right.
don't think
Sure.
I don't think the events are random, and I think like the way he tells the story is actually very well done. Like we see sort of him, like it's all positive at first, like him making film, and then as this sort of film becomes more than just film, where like first it's between film and family, like the uncle mentioned, then it's between like, do I even want to keep making film as he reaches the high school age, and then the dad challenging him, it's like, is this just a hobby, like this is a very expensive hobby, and then lastly him eventually deciding that he's going to quit college and fully pursue film. Like I think like that journey is depicted like perfectly there. And I'll bring up another movie that he did. I think Catch Me If You Can doesn't have like an overarching thread either. Like it's just a lot of like different con events that the main guy did. And I guess like if you really have to chain these together, I guess it's Tom Hanks chasing the guy. That's about like the only way you can link them together.
So that's like the
There's
plot
a
of the
lot
movie,
of
though.
confused faces.
Really?
That's like
Yeah.
that's like
That's
it's
not
like
how I remembered it.
it's a pretty like cut and dry plot. Like
All right.
Tom
Okay.
Hanks is chasing.
Okay. Well, then ignore that
I think-
example. But like,
Yeah.
my points still stand about this movie. I think like they flow together
Yeah.
really well, in my opinion.
I would definitely disagree that as far as Catch Me If You Can, I think that's a much better script. But let's
Sure.
let's hear
I
from
think
Aidan.
this script
Or
works.
not.
Is my opinion. I think like it depicts the stages and how like the role of film and filmmaking changes in his life. I think that's a
Sure.
cool progression to see.
I'm kind of between you guys on this one. So I
Oh
think
no,
that
not again.
No, I-
Mixed in between.
I kind of understand both of your points. I think that with what Alex was saying, like he's very close to the script, and there's a lot of like, and I said this earlier, just towards the end, it's like these scenes are kind of the same scene happening, and what I mean by that is like characters are having a somewhat normal conversation, and then like one of them is crying about something. One of them suddenly gets very emotional about something that happened, and then it's like, and then there's this kind of like, it feels like there's supposed to be a revelation, but then the same scene happens like three times after that, and I think that there's a lot of lingering on things that aren't as important as they should, that aren't as important as they're presented, and I think that's because Spielberg is so close to it that it's like his memories. But that being said, there is also a lot that I like about the script. I don't necessarily agree that it doesn't have a good focus. I think that in the beginning I was a little bit like, okay, like what is this? But I think as it started to snowball, I really got a grip of like, okay, yeah, it's about like so he is this character, like filmmaking, you know, you have this thing where one parent is like art and the other is science, and filmmaking is the combination of those things. It's like he is the artist who's trying to express things, but he's also like his dad. He's like problem solving, like that scene in the car. He's like an engineer as well, and so like they're like, and I actually really liked how that kind of creeps up, and you really understand that about the main character by the end of that, and that's because of pretty strong writing. And I think that also, like, within that as well, like the way it explores the power, consequences, and responsibility that comes with capturing something, and I'll get it more into my feelings about that later. But like, I think it's really interesting how it's like at first film is this thing that like, oh, he needs to control something that scared him, and so he can exercise some kind of control on it and present it, and then suddenly it's not scary anymore, and he has some sort of control over reality, but then he starts to learn that he can't necessarily control reality, and sometimes he captures something he doesn't want to see, and is he like, how do I deal with the responsibility of being the vessel for transmitting this thing? And I think that there are a lot of, I thought the themes were like very well explored. That was one of the things I actually really liked by the end of this movie. And then at the end of the day, it's like it's still the only thing he wants to do. Like, and I think that his experience at the prom sets up for that well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely
Ryan?
agree 100% with Aidan with that. Yeah, I do think the fat could have been trimmed a lot on this.
Yeah.
This shit is long.
Is very long. I didn't really feel the length as much.
I did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The third act, I definitely started getting fatigued with it though. I didn't really care for the high school stuff that much. The ending was nice though. But and the monkey, I really didn't like the monkey. That probably
Already-
happened in real life, but I
Yeah.
don't like that monkey
Yeah,
at
exactly.
all. It
That's
like
what I
it,
mean,
it
like-
sticks it sticks
Yeah.
too true to his life that he can't dramatize it even like a little bit. And yeah, like it does work really well though, and I don't think it's necessarily bad screenwriting. I just feel like if he kind of stepped back from it a little bit, it would have been a lot better if he could just and get rid of a lot of those scenes too that are kind of just unnecessary.
I agree with you. The monkey thing, I felt very strongly. I was like, okay, it's like, do you remember when this happened? Like, and
Yeah.
maybe that exact thing didn't happen, but something like that definitely happened.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
just retelling it. Yeah.
I feel like we're more or less in agreement, really.
Yeah.
Like, we kind
Yeah.
of all, yeah. Peter?
I think like the monkey stuff, I guess like at first when they were putting together the cage, it's sort of like at least I felt personally that if Paul Dano's character's been there, like the cage would have been like a lot easier, like been put together a lot more easily. So like this sort of like maybe like it's just like a need for like a sciencey guy to exist. But like I think the monkey, one thing that worked really well is that dinner scene where like it's just like layering on the chaos. Like one layer at a time. First is the
Yeah.
argument, then it's you gotta take monkey to the vet, etc.
Do you think
And-
the bags was involved in it at all?
Huh?
Never mind.
I don't even know what you said, Aiden.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
I didn't hear what you
Yeah,
said.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
No,
I'm
I
kidding, Ashley.
100% agree with like events too close to real life. Like it's real, so like we should keep it type of situation. It's like it's the same situation with the Monica girl where like you have this awkward sort of like you invite Christ into you sort of thing. Like it's like, is this really needed? Like what does this show? Like
I liked that scene actually.
like why
I know what he means,
why do you
though.
think
It was
that
fun.
It was
It
a
was
great
fun.
scene.
It's a good scene. It's important because a lot of it is about relationships and how he's perceiving the world based off of the divorce of his parents. And so I actually think it is important to see him navigate like an interpersonal romantic relationship of his own. And I think that it was actually a fun, like, considering it also weaves in like he's dealing with anti-Semitism, and so it's kind of it's an interesting play on that as well. I
Like,
actually thought it worked well.
like, is it rude to like
Also,
ask the Jewish person to do that? Like, that's
But
more.
they're like they're
Yes.
kids, and it's like, yeah, like the point is that
obviously,
it's
Peter.
yeah,
Okay.
I think also it's interesting that just like his parents, like these are people who have very different outlooks on the world, right? So his parents are thinking or feeling or, you know, art or technology. And then in his own relationship, it's Jewish and Catholic or whatever, Christian.
one of them Christians.
One of them. Oh my god, one of them Christian. I don't know what we're doing. Ryan, did you have
I want
antidote?
to, yeah, a quick anecdote. So when
What do
that
you mean
scene was,
anecdote?
I definitely did. Fuck.
What?
I was
We
like,
need an
how do I
anecdote.
spell this again? Oh fuck.
I
Yeah, yeah.
thought you knew.
Oh,
You
shit.
understand.
Oh, my bad. But no, when that scene, so I went to the theater opening night, and it was really empty, which is crazy too. This film is not making like any money
Yeah.
at all, which is
No, it's not.
it's not.
It's
It's
gonna
like
lose
I
money,
think
yeah.
6 million.
I think the marketing has
crazy.
been bad on this.
It
movie,
is
bro.
really
They're
bad.
terrible.
Yeah. But so there is only like 4 other people in the theater. And so behind me, a bit on the left side, there is these 2 older women. I'd say one's 50 and one's 70, so probably like a mother and daughter. And when that scene happened, the old lady, the Christian scene. So when she's
Okay.
like, put Christ into you, thank the hand of God, she started like bursting out laughing and just yelled, "What the fuck is this? I thought this was a Spielberg movie!" She screamed that out loud and whispered to her mother, and like I just fucking
Oh my God.
You calm down, Peter. It was funny, but like
That's so funny, bro. That's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. That I think it was a good scene. It was really funny.
it was funny. Yeah.
I want to talk about Spielberg's short films. Now, 3/4 of us have made short films, and at least half of us are for sure directors by trade. But some might say jealous wannabe filmmakers.
Some might say frustrated, jealous, wannabe
frustrated. Sorry.
Frustrated.
So watching this movie as a frustrated, jealous wannabe filmmaker, I definitely felt frustrated, jealous, and wannabe. Because his short films, and I think like obviously there was exaggeration, but like some of the like ingenuity he infused, like I was just like, holy shit, like what am I doing here?
Dude,
like when
I
he
was
like,
literally
okay,
No, you go.
okay. So like when he starts, oh my god, when he starts like talking about how he did the guns going off, and he's like, yeah, I just poked holes in the film. I was like, oh my god, that's so fucking smart. Or when he did like getting shot and he uses like a seesaw like lever contraption to throw dirt in the air, and it looks just like Saving Private Ryan, and he like does like a dying motion. I was like, oh my god, like I could never do anything like that. Like, so yeah, I just feel like shit now. So thanks.
I was watching it and I was thinking like, oh man, like, okay, like what can I do to achieve this thing in the script that I'm currently writing? Like, like I literally was sitting there like, okay, like I have to rewrite some of my script, like, because I can actually achieve this thing if I just think hard enough, I can find a way to do this thing.
Yeah. No, I feel you, Peter.
And also, I think like it's just appreciation, like things back then, you know, with no CGI, no the volume stage. There's so many things you have to. Huh?
As low budget.
Yeah, we don't have CGI when we were.
We also don't have CGI or the volume.
My point is just like I really appreciate these scenes. It's like just like when you're low on budget, when you're an indie filmmaker, how can you make, you know, a spectacle with limited budget? And I think like I've always loved how, like, you know, like the original Star Wars credits, for example, is literally just a camera filming a screen with like text rolling up, you know, like it, like how low tech solutions make for great results. You know, I love these scenes.
One of the things I was literally thinking, one point he's like, yeah, I got 40 guys coming out to my shoot. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, he has 40 people coming out to his shoot? It's so hard. like because like one of the things that me and Ryan worked on over the summer, like we had a good amount of people out for one of the scenes,
Yeah.
and even that was like pretty hard to put together. Like
Yeah, most of them left halfway too.
and most of them left, and yeah.
I think there was just less to do in the 1950s. That's what
Yeah.
that's the vibe. I get.
Yeah,
Like they weren't
big
doing
time,
anything
yeah.
else. They could just come to the shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing. This is my segue. Another thing that Spielberg captures on film is divorce. That was pretty
does.
fucked up. That scene where he's like trying to make the camping film and he starts seeing hints. I think that was probably like the first moment in the film where I was like, "Oh, this is good and like really compelling." Like, I mean, there were good moments before, to be fair, but this was the first wow moment. Like every film has wow moments, and I think this was my first one where I was like, "Oh, like I feel that gut punch. I know exactly what Sammy is feeling right now," and just like the repetition of him like going over and over and over and over the scenes to make sure that he's seeing what he's seeing. I just like I was really impressed with that scene in
And
particular.
paired with this camera movement, like it's just kind of circling around the whole time, and it's like
It's a
again
bit
like
Michael Bay for me, but
no, I think it's like I understand the comparison to Bayhem, but it's not Bayhem. It's well, it's like technically different than Bayhem too, because he always uses like the long lens so that the background's like.
Hmm.
But it was slower and it was more of like it felt like a revelation. Unlike Michael Bay, it felt like a very intentional use of this arcing
Yeah.
movement, and I thought it worked really well.
Any other thoughts on
Yeah, no.
Good scene. I like that.
It was a
scene,
good
yeah.
scene. I think my first wow moment was probably when young Sammy has his like hands in front of the projector. I
That was
really
great.
love that.
I
I
loved
love
that
that
too,
shot.
actually.
Yeah. That's the one that kind of made me tear up a little bit.
There's been
Yeah.
so many like love letter to cinema movies.
Yeah.
I'm just getting kind of tired of some of the cliche shots of like, it's like light and it's like in my hands and like I don't think I've ever seen it in my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever
Usually
seen that
yeah,
shot.
no, I was about to say.
Usually it's a shot of the characters in the movie theater and the projectors above them,
Yeah.
and it's a low angle shot and they have wonder in their eyes. And there's a shot in here that's exactly like that. So I just give me that
better.
vibe, and I I'm just kind of like, whatever. So
I thought I liked it
that-
though
that one
because
you
I
do.
thought it was an interesting way to cover that idea. Because you're
Yeah.
right, that idea is very played out. But I really liked that as a metaphor.
It was
Yeah.
it was different for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think next I'm zooming way ahead to Monica, the Jesus loving girlfriend. I mean we did kind of already talk about this,
Yeah.
but that scene was hilarious.
Yeah.
And yeah, when she starts saying like put Jesus in me or something, like the
Yeah.
phrasing is really like sexually charged. I also just thought it was super funny that obviously some of these things are fictional, but the idea of Spielberg recreating the time he lost his virginity is just so fucking funny to me. Like, oh man, I think
Dude,
that's hilarious.
and the fact that
Yeah.
when he looked up, it's literally Jesus on the cross.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a funny cut.
Oh,
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how that scene builds up how much Jesus is in this room. It starts with the mural, you turn around and then it's above the bed and yeah, he's looking up and he's like looking down on him. So funny.
Yeah.
I really like that scene. Any other thoughts on Monica in general, not just necessarily that scene?
Well, actually, like I think, like the prom stuff, like you said in general, right? So I can talk about it.
Because somebody had a point and I included it in this, so I was waiting for somebody to say their point.
I don't think that was me, but
I think it was fucking you.
it was me. All right,
Not me.
okay. So like at the end at the prom, like I really like how she said like, yeah, like we're gonna break up eventually. Like she doesn't foresee this relationship going anywhere, and I feel like artists oftentimes, like especially you see it through the mom and Sammy, like have this idealistic view on the world where like Sammy literally told his mom, is like, yeah, like I thought we're gonna get married and like I thought she's will be willing to move with me to Hollywood, etc. And like that as like a sharp reminder that like the world doesn't work like that for a high schooler was pretty pretty good.
Pretty good.
I can't think of a different adjective.
It's a curb reference. Sorry.
I don't think that that's what the point of that scene is. Actually, I don't think
Really?
that. I don't think that he has an idealistic view of love. I don't think he is really in love with her. I think it's that
Trying to
he
hold
feels
on to
alone.
something.
He feels alone because of his parents' divorce, and he's losing things,
Yeah.
and he wants to hold on to this.
Oh,
there is like
that's a good read. That's a good read.
there's a genuine connection there, right? And so, like, one of the things I liked is that, like, it is kind of fucked up, like some of the things she's saying to him, like
Oh,
about,
absolutely.
like, the way it's portrayed is like she's not necessarily trying to be malicious, and that's the way teenagers like are, like, whereas like she doesn't realize that, you know what I mean, and like
It's borderline anti-Semitic, but like not in a hateful way, but
right,
like
and
in
she
a
still
like a
she still
stereotypes kind of
clearly
way.
does like him too, like there's, and I like that
Yeah.
there was like, and it always felt like a fleeting relationship that he
Dude, yeah,
he
it like
don't
just
think
started so
yeah.
randomly too. It started with like a chat in the library. It's like, hey, do you want to come to my house?
Well, that just kind of ended.
all I gotta
Let's
say.
talk
That's what I
about
gotta
Logan, the bully.
Oh my God.
I have to say, Aidan can attest to this. When Logan showed up, I was just so confused as to what was going on, because I didn't understand that we were introducing a new character, or like what the character was going to be, because the shots of him at the start, like in the volleyball scene, it felt, and I mean, it kept being this afterwards, it felt very homoerotic. And it never went away. I was like, this guy with like the chiseled jawline and the piercing blue eyes, like he's filmed in such a way that is like very sexual. And I was like, what is this? And then they keep doing that, like when he films Ditch Day, and even Logan acknowledges, he's like, yeah, what the fuck was that? Why did you film me like that? It's very like weird. And so I didn't understand what was going on. It took me a second to realize that he was an asshole, just because they film him like Sammy's in love with him or something. I don't know. It was really weird.
Yeah,
Silence.
I would.
Okay, great.
No, I would.
Yeah.
I would say that, like, I don't think I get what you're saying, and I maybe thought that for a moment, but I didn't. I think the thought left my mind pretty quickly.
Like yeah. Eventually, yeah.
And I did like in the end, like the function he winds up playing, where it was, like this idea of like he tries to use this argument of like, oh, I'm just capturing what's there, but that's not really true. Like, that's somewhat true, but there is also subjectivity to filming and editing something, and I think that like it's again like that idea of like power and control over the world, and I like how he kind of like throughout the movie he kind of loses his grasp on the control that film provides him, and then he kind of brings it back a little bit, and but it's not all the way there. Like, you can't just manufacture something, and I really liked that conversation that they had in the hallway.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
that
good
conversation was one of the best in the film. I agree with you. And I think I love how this movie used different avenues to explore the impact of movie can have on people. So like first it's sort of like this, it's a dream, it's an experience you would never forget. You like being in the audience watching a film, as we can see by the many times that he showed his short film to people, and like the awe in the audience. And then we explored from a director's perspective, like what does it mean to like balance between art, life, family, etc. And then in this scene with Logan, how does art affect people that's in the picture, that's in the movie? And I think the way that the power of a director showcased so perfectly, where you have the control and power to select certain scenes to make things look a way that it is, that and like Logan mentioned, like you're showing the potential that does not exist in me, and I think that showcase and that conversation is very revealing, and brings up a very interesting perspective on film.
Yeah, it's a really
Mic
good
drop.
scene. I really like. Yeah, it was a great scene. I will say it was ruined though when Chad showed up, because I think Chad is just such a shit character.
It's very silly.
He's over the top. I don't think it was necessary for him to be that fucking over the top. But yeah, just wanted to add that in, that I don't like Chad.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like Logan is a much more interesting character.
Yeah.
I thought like when he first appeared, it's like, oh, just another like high school jock, right? Like not just another one of these. And the fact that his character evolved into this character with depth, and like it's like your film gave me so much power. Like the girl that I wanted, like literally just went up and kissed me because like they watched this film. It and like this sense of it's like he's sort of like satisfied by the result, but he's also fear. Like there's a sense of fear in him that's like, what have you done to me, you know? And I love that.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was an interesting scene for sure. I think it's definitely important to have those characters in there because that is a part of Spielberg's life and like childhood was anti-Semitism, and he actually like it's in his Wikipedia page actually like that he did get punched in the nose twice. So like it's important to have those characters for sure. But I think Peter was kind of touching on something that I think Aidan wanted to talk on, which is just the idea of capturing subjective reality, and it is very interesting, like what Peter was noting in that what Sammy is able to capture is not just reality as it was. There's an element of like Sammy as the auteur, dare I say, as the person holding the camera, sees the world in a particular way. So he sees Logan as this, you know, I think it's funny because they kind of like avoid using these words, but he's like a golden god because that's like the "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" reference that apparently no one understands. Man,
No.
Guys, get cultured. But yeah, like it is very interesting that like yeah, all the things he make kind of like affects people and it's not just reality, it's tinged with himself.
Yeah, and I think that like it was the conflict that Logan has in that last scene is really interesting. How it's like there's a certain amount of shame of like only some of him was portrayed. Like the version of him that was on screen is not like really who he was, but he was still something he benefited from. And I think like this idea that the film, it was a subjective reality and it wasn't necessarily like exactly who this guy is, but it wound up kind of creating a sort of reality as well, and it was like this kind of reciprocal relationship between like the real world and film. Like the film comes out and then he gets his girlfriend back, right? And so it's like the movie had like this tangible impact on real life, and you know it's like this give and take, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, cool. I also love how that scene ends in the hallway where Sammy just says, or Logan saying like, "You better not tell anyone ever about this." And Sam, it made me laugh so hard, Ryan. Fuck you.
I don't
Logan's
like
like,
it's so
you better
stupid.
you better never tell a fucking soul about what I just told you. And Sammy's like, "Yeah, I swear I won't." Unless I make a movie about it. And then like clearly this is the movie about it. And I just found that so fucking funny and like
I
in a
hated it.
self-reflexive way. And like I get that, and there's another joke that I'll get to later where
Yeah.
it's doing that again, where it's breaking that barrier. And it was so tongue-in-cheek and like I liked it because of that. Like I was actually
I liked
okay
it
with
too.
the fact that the fourth wall is being kind of not broken, but tapped on perhaps. And
Yeah.
I think in a movie that's literally about Spielberg's life and childhood, like I think that's okay. I think it works in this case. Ryan, you're gonna pop a gas.
No, I get it. I just did not like it like at all. Like it just didn't sit right with me. I definitely get the appeal of it. It's not for me. I don't like fourth wall type
Okay.
of shit.
I think
Do you
well,
like
I
being
like
cool?
that it wasn't a straight like fourth wall break because I think that would have been bad. But I think the nature
Yeah.
of the film itself is already kind of reflexive. Like you can't watch this movie and not think like, oh yeah, this is about Spielberg. That's the guy who's making the movie I'm watching. Like that's art that's so inherent in the film, and I like that they held off on this until like the very end of it. If this was a commonly occurring thing where we're constantly getting jokes like this. And I would not have liked that at all. But I like that it's like it's this and then it's the gag at the end, and that's pretty much the only two times that I can really think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And so it worked for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other best joke in the movie is with David Lynch, and I again, like, I can't get over how good that scene is. So David Lynch as John Ford is trying to school a young Sammy as a filmmaker, and so he points at his paintings and he says, "What do you see?" And Sammy's like, "It's like a horse, and it's like, I don't know, there's like two guys and they're like searching for something." And John Ford is like, "Oh, where's the horizon?" And he's like, "Oh, it's at the bottom." And he's like, "Good, look at this." Okay, no one's gonna be able to hear what I'm saying. And he goes, "Okay, it's so unintelligible." He's like, "Okay, look at this painting over here. What's in this one?" And Sammy is so stupid. Like, the audience has already caught on what the point is. And Sammy's like, "Oh, I don't know. There's like five guys, and there's that guy." He's like, "No, idiot. Where's the fucking horizon?" And he's like, "Oh, it's at the top." And then John Ford goes, "Okay, so like if I gotta stop doing this voice. If the horizon is at the bottom, it's interesting. If the horizon is at the top, it's interesting. If the horizon is in the middle, it's boring as shit." That's his advice, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of my office."
Yeah, I love that. That's the end of the scene, dude. That's so good.
Yeah.
What does it mean though? Like horizon on
It's
top
just,
and bottom.
It's
I didn't
just
really
compositional.
Get that. Yeah.
Well, because you're not a filmmaker, it's just compositional. Like, that's how you make an interesting frame. Because if it's just in the middle, it's bland. But if you do an extreme, it's on either end. Like, it's more interesting, and so it's like it's specific to the horizon in this case, but it can be applied to many things, right? Like, try to go for the extremes rather than the safe middle choice. And then obviously the punchline, if that wasn't enough, the punchline to the joke is the final shot of the film where Sammy is walking away down the rows of studios, and the horizon is in the middle, and the camera reframes so that the horizon is at the bottom.
Oh,
that was a nice touch.
I didn't notice that.
Touch,
That's great.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
I actually have another point really quick that I should have brought up earlier. It was an early thing, but it's really quick. One of the things that I liked that it showed about, like, that felt very true to the experience of, like, making your own film is that, like, explaining the scene to an actor and realizing what it's about in the process of it. That scene, the scene where he's explaining, like, the situation to the actor and he realizes that the film is about the divorce and it's about
the divorce,
like his, like, the fact that he's the one that discovered it and, like, the affair and stuff. And, like, that was, like, that rang very true to me, that it's like, because that's a lot of what filmmaking is, that it's just like, without realizing it, you unconsciously make it so personal, and then, like, as you put it out there, and, like, it forces you to explain personal things over and over again, and it gets to a point where you're like, oh shit, like, that's what this is.
Wait, Aidan, which one are you talking about though? Because, like, the only one that he explained is the World War II.
Yes, that one.
And how's that about the divorce?
Because he's like, they're a family, and it's falling apart, and it's dead, and there's nothing you can do about it, and maybe if you didn't bring it into it.
Oh my god!
What did you didn't bring it?
Dude, that's like the text of the scene. Like,
he's crying.
Okay.
He starts crying.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just, like, breeze past that. I was just gonna say that film is therapy is what people often say, but that was much funnier what Peter said. Does anyone have, like, I have some, like, general thematic points, but does anyone have any things they want to talk about, like, that were more specific to the movie?
I do have another specific thing that I just didn't know where to insert. Do you guys know, like, the meme where it's like, it'll show, like, on Twitter, it'll be like a YouTube thumbnail, and it's like Paul Dano from the Batman, and it's like, "Does he know?" in yellow text. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, like him
I don't.
freaking
You're
out?
so well versed in memes.
No, but it's like, okay, it's for anyone, like, that does know what it is. Like, there were multiple times where in my notebook I just wrote "Does he know?" in all caps, when it was like shots on Paul Dano's face, and it was like, "Does he know about the divorce?" And like when I first opened my notebook today, I was like, I literally laughed because it just in all caps in the middle of the pages, does he know?
I've looked it up and
Yeah.
I've never seen this in my
Yeah,
entire life.
never.
That's funny though. I
Yeah.
get why that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's just talk about like generally what the themes of the movie are. So, some stuff that I liked were the idea that art will make you lonely. I think that was a really astute point by the great uncle. It was kind of like sad that they didn't really explore that because I feel like Sammy wasn't really lonely and
Yeah.
certainly wasn't lonely because of film. So, I mean, that's just one avenue that was, and so they didn't want to go down that path, and that's fine. And he also mentions like this idea that like art and family can't really align, and I think that one's more explored.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only other thing I want to mention is that the idea of like someone's doing the dishes.
Yeah, Zay keeps cutting it in and out.
But what was I gonna say? His parents' divorce, like his dad being like the thinker and his mom being like feeling, is and this is well documented. So this isn't something that I came up with, but his 1977 movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
is
talking about.
pretty famously like the closest he ever got to like this movie about like making a movie about his parents' divorce, because that's a movie. I love that movie so much, and it's a movie about like aliens and this guy like seeing aliens and he wants to know more about them. But what's interesting is that the aliens communicate through music, and it's like technological music, and there's like so it's exploring that mix between technology and music, like his parents. And yeah, so like I think it's funny because I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a better movie about Spielberg's divorce than the movie about Spielberg's divorce. Like, I don't think this movie needed to be made. Like, it's all right and there's good points, but like I think Close Encounters does everything this was trying to do better.
Yeah. Have you seen the interview where that's pointed out to Spielberg and he realizes it during the interview?
No.
I think I
there's
have
an interview
actually,
where the interviewer lays it out for him, and he's like, "Your father was a computer scientist. Your mother was a musician. How do the aliens communicate in your movie?" And Spielberg's like, "Oh shit!"
Oh really?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
That's actually something I've realized is that I think artists just kind of like have these ideas and then people overanalyze film and then come up with things that totally aren't true or like weren't in the filmmaker's mind.
But that's
then,
definitely
like,
unconsciously.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
applied
It's
to-
in his subconscious.
Yeah.
Whether it's subconsciously there or not is another thing. I think in this case, sure, but like I was just writing something and I'm looking back at like what I wrote and I'm kind of like validating it and being like, oh yeah, that actually kind of like means something greater, even though when I was writing it, it definitely didn't. And two, like probably wasn't subconscious either. Like it just happens to like fit very well. I don't know. I think that's interesting that like maybe not. But did anyone else have any general thoughts about themes?
Yeah, I want to add on the art versus family thing because I thought that's very, very interesting. That, like, I think the biggest example in this movie is the example of Michelle Williams' character, where the uncle literally said that she has the talent, she has the skill to pursue this sort of like career as an amazing piano performer, but yet she chose family and decided not to do that, while he went into the circus and everyone in the family sort of distanced themselves from him for that, you know. And the fact that Michelle Williams' character got this dream where it's like, don't let this man in, this man will ruin you. It's sort of like, it's almost like hinting towards like the uncle planting this idea in Sam's mind of like this sort of like, you have to choose one or the other. You have to give up family for art, or you have to give up art for family. And like we know that like in this case, like Sam will give up his relationships for art because he loves movies. So I just thought like this, it's well laid out and very interesting thought that you have to pick between your career in art or your family. So like you can't have both, which is interesting.
Yeah. Anyone
Right.
else?
No, I think that was the Fable guys.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Fable guys.
Yeah.
Do you I have some follow-up questions? Do you think we're gonna get the Fabelmans 2?
Ooh. I think
There's
so.
lots of content to mine.
Well,
I mean,
That's true.
in
I did a quick look at
actuality,
his. I did a quick look at his biography on Wikipedia, and I mean, he was a brother of the Theta Chi fraternity, which I think would be really interesting if we got like a college movie, but with Spielberg. Also, like him meeting George Lucas. I said to Aidan like I thought it was gonna happen, but that was much later. And I think like the making of Jaws would be really interesting because like that was like his first like big movie and like the father or mother of blockbusters, and that movie like nearly killed him. So or like so I've heard. So I actually, as much of a joke as it is, like the Fabelmans 2 isn't like completely out of the question.
No,
for
Okay.
me.
I mean, The Offer, which was about the making of The Godfather, that worked really well, surprisingly. So I
I've
would
heard
love to
terrible
see
things about
something.
that, actually. So
Really?
that's funny that you
It
say
was
that.
good.
Yeah.
It was really good for what it was.
I haven't.
And in actuality,
haven't.
the parents did get back together way later on in their life, which is a cool, interesting fact.
Spielberg's parents?
Yeah.
Oh,
They got back
interesting.
together, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Permanently?
I don't know. They're like 80 or 90. This was in the documentary.
Yeah.
It was super brief,
Okay.
so
Interesting.
yeah.
That
Now,
is interesting.
I do wonder, like, we have a lot of movies about, like, how, like, a musician, an artist's career progression. I don't think we have one where, like, a director, you know, starting from the bottom, working his way up. Do we have a movie like that? Like, Whiplash is about a drummer,
I'm sure
you know.
there is.
La La Land's
I'm
about
sure there
actors.
is.
Is there one for directors?
Boogie
Or, like-
Nights is about a porn star.
What? What?
What?
Oh, Boogie
What?
Nights. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry,
Oh.
I missed what you
What's that?
said. So I was like, what?
I just heard porn star. I was like, what?
I'm trying to see. Oh, wasn't 8.5 about a director?
It was about a
It's
director.
about-
I thought
It is
of
about a
that. It's about a
director.
director, but
It's not
him
about his
coming up.
rise.
He
It's
was
more
already
about, like,
successful, yeah.
yeah, it's about
Oh,
him,
well.
like,
Okay,
kind of the
really
disillusion
specific.
of
Yeah.
him more so.
It's a great movie, by the way. Highly recommend it.
It is a
There's
great
like there's like a whole list. And,
Funny.
I don't know most of them. So I'm sure there is. I'm sure this wasn't the originator of the film about directors. Anyways, I was gonna ask one more question and I just closed the tab. I want to talk about just like generally, like, what do you guys think are your favorite Spielberg films?
Ooh, I have a
Should be an
list.
easy question. Oh, Jesus.
I don't
And I
think I
won't
have
pull it up.
seen-
though.
Ryan can go last. So, Peter, let's hear from you.
I don't think I've seen that many Spielberg films actually. Like I've not seen some of the classics. For example.
Okay.
So I have actually shockingly I have not watched Jaws in its
It's so
entirety.
Wow.
I have
It's so
not
good.
seen Jurassic Park in its entirety.
Really?
What?
The ones that I have not. Yeah. The
Jurassic
ones
Park
I
is
have
also
seen.
very good.
The ones I have seen: Catch Me If You Can, Indiana
Good
Jones,
movie.
Ready Player One,
Great
E.T.,
movie.
Close Encounter with the Third Kind, Tintin,
Great.
and
Tintin?
let's see.
I forgot you did Tintin.
I think that's it.
Tintin was good.
Yeah, I really like Tintin.
Yeah, it's fun.
Now, like Close Encounter, I think like it's just the technological aspect that like took me out of it. Like some of the shots were like seem a little silly by today's standards. But like it's still a great movie.
Yeah,
I'll say
sure.
top 3 for me probably.
Ryan, stop.
Oh shit! I forgot
This
West Side
is-
Story. I forgot West Side Story. Top 3 for me probably. Close Encounter, Catch Me If You Can, Indiana Jones.
Which
West Side
indie
Story
movie?
is also very good, but if you cry, Peter will make fun of you. Apparently, so.
No. Okay.
I really like it. I really like it.
I have to clear this up about West Side Story though. I did not dig West Side Story at all, and Alex made fun of me because I thought I was like, oh shit, they better not make this a Romeo and Juliet where the girl kills herself too. And I was very happy that she didn't. And then Alex was like, "This is literally the modern Romeo and Juliet." I was like, "What?"
It's an
Okay.
adaptation.
Other than that
Yeah.
beat, like that's just what the source material is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
Anyways,
if I'm
Aidan,
going
Aidan, let's hear
next,
from you.
yeah, I love all of the Indiana Jones movies. I mean, the fourth one not as much, but
I
you
was
know,
gonna say all of them.
I like the fourth one though. People, when the fourth one came out, I know it got hated on a lot. I rewatched it like with all the other ones. It's not as good, very obviously, but it's still a very fun action adventure movie that I think works. I love Last Crusade. I mean, like that's like the common take, but I think that movie's great.
Sean Connery is just I love him. Sean
Yeah.
Connery.
I recently rewatched. I
George.
watched Jaws in theaters when it was in theaters a couple months
Ooh,
ago.
that's cool.
It was brought to the in like that was great. I mean that's a fantastic movie. Like it's just incredible. I like Catch Me If You Can a lot. Yeah, and I like West Side Story. There are a lot of them that I actually haven't seen as well. Now that I'm
There's
looking
so
at it.
many.
I've never
Yeah.
seen
I-
Schindler's
like-
List. I've
Never seen Schindler's List.
Wow.
I've never seen
Bro,
Color Purple, but I
Schindler's
don't
List
want
is
to.
195 minutes long. What? That's 3 hours.
Is it?
That's crazy.
Doesn't feel like it.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to see. Like, I don't want to see Ready Player One.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Ready
that.
He's
Player
made,
One
like,
is really just
36
like a
films.
blockbuster. It doesn't like it. It's not really like a Spielberg film. I feel like.
Stinks.
Yeah, I mean, I've also seen Saving Private Ryan, but I don't like that one that much. So
It's good, but like I don't remember it very much.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty
Ryan,
aggressive
what's your-
propaganda too. But yeah,
Yeah.
as is
Oh,
often is.
ooh, I take. Ryan, what do you think? What's your list?
Okay, well, I've only seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 I haven't seen out of his whole filmography: The Post, War of Worlds, Munich,
Wow.
Empire of the Sun, and Amistad, and Always. My favorite is definitely Schindler's List. I think it's his opus. I do love Jaws though. They're very close to each other. I think that's like the best performances by far. Like the main 3 cast is so
Oh,
great, so fucking
Richard
good.
Dreyfuss. Oh my
They're
God,
so
yeah.
underrated, man. Like so fucking good. Raiders of the Lost Ark is up there too. Close Encounters.
So good.
Number 5 for me is the Sugarland Express, which is very underrated. Definitely his most underrated film. It's his it's his official feature film debut, not counting Duel. It was really great. But Ready Player One is definitely his fucking worst. That movie sucks. It's
Well, I
fucking
think-
awful.
I
Not
think
surprising.
Ready Player One is more about the visual spectacle instead of like the actual plot, because of
There's
like
no
the
fucking plot.
the problem of adapting Ready Player One is really just like, how do we create this expensive visual world?
Is that movie not just nostalgia machine?
Well,
it
it's like
IP machine,
metaverse,
like-
but like it's like real now, sort of.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Anyways,
and a lot of
let's move
cameos,
on from
Aidan.
this
If
point.
you were talking about that, yeah.
So, any other favorites for you, Ryan?
I mean, all the Indiana Jones movies are pretty good. Other than, well, I don't love Temple of Doom. I don't
Temple of
think
Doom's fire. That's
it's-
one of my
it's
favorite things.
okay.
That movie's hard.
it's okay. It's okay. Jurassic Park's great. Minority Report's pretty good. I don't know. He doesn't make any really offensively bad films. Like I would only say maybe like 1941's pretty bad. BFG is pretty bad, and Ready Player One just fucking sucks. Other than that, they're
We have
just
said that.
pretty mediocre. I could go on and on, but
We don't
Yeah,
need to. Yeah,
no.
so I'll just throw my hat in the ring. I haven't seen very many either. I mean, he's got 36. I think I counted directed movies, so there's a lot. But yeah, Jaws and Close Encounters, those 2 back to back are just fantastic. Raiders, I love. E.T. honestly was okay at best. I
Thank
really
you.
did not
Overrated.
take to it. Okay,
I
yeah,
haven't seen
it's
it since I was
overrated.
little.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't love Temple of Doom, but I think I need to watch Last Crusade again. I think I did enjoy that one. I think I've seen Hook, and I was shocked to find out that was directed by him, because I don't remember that like at all. But Jurassic Park is great. Jurassic Park or the Lost World Jurassic Park is not great. Saving Private Ryan is pretty good. Catch Me If You Can is good. And then most of his more recent stuff. Crystal Skull sucks. And I like the West Side Story, and I did cry, and fuck you, Peter.
Yeah.
So that's it for the movie. Aidan, I think we have a segment.
Yeah, we sure do have a segment. So if you haven't noticed by now, the podcast is called Predator versus Movies, and we've done the movie part of the podcast. So now it's time to get into the Predator part. We asked the question, would the movie be better if the Predator from the movie Predator was in the movie The Fabelmans?
Very cool, Kanye. Sorry, that was I don't know.
A movie. I don't know if you should say
from-
Kanye since this movie stars.
No, I know.
You
That's
know.
it's also a Trump quote.
It is a Trump quote.
Yeah.
What did he
It's
do?
a Trump tweet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kanye. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that's funny. I don't support either of those people. I hate both of them. They suck. Anyways,
True.
Sway.
Predator. No.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. It would be funny if there's a scene where he made Predator, like he was like, lying. He was like,
that's fun.
and he's
Yeah.
like, I came up with the idea. No, but he's lying, and he's like, I was the one that came
Okay.
up for the idea for Predator, and you like see him make the beginnings of it. That'd be funny.
Low budget Predator.
Yeah, and then the idea got stolen from him by big
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Or what if he watched Predator and that was the film that made him want to be a filmmaker?
Ooh.
Like
Yeah.
instead of a train movie, he's
Yeah.
holding Predator in his hands or something.
Oh, that's another thing I want to
Any other
add.
ideas?
Sorry. The greatest
Sure.
show on earth, the movie that made Spielberg love films, is not a good movie.
Mhm.
It's pretty
Awesome.
bad. It's
He was a child, so I'm sure he
Yeah,
didn't have
a
great
dumb
taste at that
child.
point, but- a dumb child with
Dude, he had he
no
had terrible fucking taste as a
taste.
child. He's an
Yeah.
idiot.
Imagine not liking Midsummer as a child instead. What an idiot.
Anyways, I am assuming we have no other ideas on that. So
No.
we're going into our next segment. Peter, what is the next segment?
Well, I don't know. Shit, I was gonna do like an Aidan like intro. I'll just do it normally. So we're gonna talk about some of our recommendations. So we'll go into Predators picks. Whatever y'all seen or listened to for the last week.
Cool. We'll start off with Ryan as our guest,
Oh,
but
fuck.
he's going to keep it brief.
And a
You
limit of
have a
3.
maximum of 3. And if you're gonna cry about it, I'll give you 4, but it better be short and sweet.
My phone just died too, so I can't even remember exactly. Yesterday I
Great,
saw.
so we're getting improv.
Yeah, yesterday I saw Beau Trefon. I think that's how you pronounce it. Claire
I
Denis.
don't know what you just said.
Beau
Say it again.
Beau Trefon or something like that. Treval. I don't know.
Okay,
It's
It's
Trevel.
Claire
It's-
Trevel.
it's
Oh,
Trevel.
Beau Travail.
Travail.
It's a good word,
Oh,
Beau
okay.
Travail.
Yeah,
Dude,
that
what are you
movie.
saying?
Yeah, I don't fucking
Yeah.
know. It was
That movie
okay.
looks good.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It looked beautiful. I just didn't really connect
Like,
to it as
good
much as I
work?
thought. What?
Yeah,
Or like-
Beau Travail. Good
yeah.
work.
Yeah,
Good work. Yeah,
Uh,
we did say that. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Continue,
that's
Ryan.
It was good work. By Claire Denis. It was very beautiful.
Okay.
One of the more beautiful
What
films
else
I've
have you
seen,
watched?
but I didn't really like that much. I started reading War and Peace. That's pretty cool. I saw. I started to get
Why?
back into
Why would
literature.
you
Well,
do
I don't know.
that?
I started getting back into literature, and I thought, yeah, that would be pretty cool to get into War and Peace. So I got a
Isn't
War
that
and Peace.
so fucking long?
Yeah, it's like 1,300 pages, and they're really like small, but yeah, it's cool. So yeah, there's
Never.
that, and then there's Across 10th Street. I think that's what it was. It has Yabit Koto in it, who's fucking awesome, and I love him. It was okay. I didn't love it that much. It's kind of blaxploitation in a way, but not really. Great theme song. What else did I see? And then I saw 3 movies in a row. I saw Tales from the Gimli Hospital. That was really good. I saw.
Sounds like more than 3.
I'm sorry, well, I'm going really quick. Holy Spider, which was pretty good. I didn't like the
loved
ending
Holy
at all.
Spider.
It was cool. The ending was very fucking pandering though, and I don't really like that much. Pandering is not the right word.
Which is great.
And Pinocchio. which was really cool and a lot of fun and a good palate cleanser. And thank you. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you. Good night, New York. Okay.
Elvis has left
Aiden
the
can go
building.
next.
Yeah, I saw The Glass Onion, which I thought,
We
and I
saw
saw
The
it in
Glass
theaters,
Onion.
and I saw it with Alex, and I liked it. I thought it was good.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it wasn't as good as the first one, but I thought it was really fun. I had some problems with it. We'll probably do it on the pod later
We
at some
probably
point.
will.
I think we will do that.
It's not out until the 23rd on Netflix, and so we were
So
going to try
we'll
and
probably do it then.
coincide with the release on Netflix.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that. Other than that, I don't know. I feel like I had an anti-rec, but I don't remember what it was. I don't know. Maybe I'll remember if I by the end of the segment.
I think, didn't Peter also watch Glass Onion and Ryan also watch Glass Onion? Hasn't everyone seen
I
Glass
said it
Onion
in the
here?
last
Oh, true.
podcast. Yeah. Cool reference.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Dude, it was literally the best part of the movie, man. You ruined it.
No, I'm 100% on Aiden's side. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because we are definitely going to do a pod on it, but it's not better. The original is better.
Yep.
By quite a bit. It's the original is smarter. I just find like the humor, while it's maybe funnier this one, it's because it's goes for like cheaper, lower bar humor, whereas the other one is kind of smarter and wittier. And yeah, like I don't know. I had a good time. I think that's what's most important. So like it's a good time, but it's not what I was hoping for. I left one of my better reviews, if I do say so myself, on Letterboxd. I think I was pretty eloquent, whereas sometimes my reviews are meandering and long. So I think this was a good one. So go check that out on Letterboxd. Peter, what did you watch?
I've not watched much.
You've been watching a show.
Well, okay, I've been catching up. I missed the last 2 episodes of Endor, so I watched the second last one today, and I'll probably watch the last one after this pod. And excellent as always, nothing to complain about. It's Endor, you love it.
So
and also,
Endor,
I thought,
not to be confused with the prequel series Endor, about the Ewok planet.
wait,
Wouldn't that be something?
Okay. I thought you got
They're
me
just
there. I thought
very similar. It's a good joke.
Dude, I thought it was an actual show. I would disagree with the Glass Onion point. I think it's at least the same level as the original. But as you said, we'll do a pod on it, so we'll talk about it more. Lastly, I guess I can recommend new music. Metro Boomin released a new album, and there's a song with The Weeknd and 21 Savage.
Is that the only one you listened to?
Called Creepin'. No, I listened to the whole thing actually.
Is the whole thing good?
Like, I'm surprised how Metro Boomin was not on my radar at all. But then after listening to the album and then checking out some of the songs he's a very, very good like producer / artist. Yeah.
I haven't listened to the album yet, but I probably will.
Cool.
I'll pass it to Alex.
Yeah. For my Predators picks, I saw Glass Onion. I already said that. I also watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Oh, I saw it too, actually. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought that maybe that's what it was. I think Ryan had the same point, but like I really didn't care for it. I think someone pointed out that maybe it's like purposefully like a parody of Hallmark movies in its film style and writing style. And to that I say, okay. And I hated it nonetheless. Like it just feels so weird and empty. Like, and the dialogue is 90% exposition. Like I love, I heard that apparently James Gunn wanted to like make this partially because then it gets out some of the exposition like that he'd have to do in Guardians 3 that he didn't want to have to do.
Yeah.
Because like literally some of the lines are like, yeah, so we just bought the collector or nowhere from the collector, and now we have to run the place. Or Groot is buff now. They didn't say that. There was one other thing that I forget what it was.
There's one
this is our new ship, the Bowie. You know,
or like because and Mantis is like, due to the fact that Peter is my brother, I am having internal turmoil.
And James Gunn literally said in an interview somewhere that he wrote this in 3 days, and boy, does it
Yeah.
show.
Wow.
Oh,
Like, it's
yeah.
not good. Not enough attention was put into it. And it like in my review, I said like it feels like an afterthought. Whereas
Yeah.
at least Werewolf by Night felt like a passion project, even if I didn't like it very much, or as much as I had hoped. Right, this felt pretty lazy, and I think I like there were two admittedly very good jokes, and so spoilers, PPV. But like when Rocket gets Bucky's arm, like I think that was
Yeah.
a great payoff
That's a good
for
callback,
something that's
yeah.
been set up before, and I don't remember what the other one was, but like there were some good jokes, but a lot of it was like a big stretch for me comedy wise, and I was like, sure, but oh, Peter hasn't seen it,
Yeah.
so he took out his headphones. Sorry, you're good, Peter. Aidan, did you have any?
Yeah,
Any thoughts?
I saw it and I was like, I didn't expect it to be good. I think because
Fair.
I think both Alex and Ryan you guys had seen it before I did, and I think I'd heard your takes on it beforehand.
Yeah.
So I went into it like, yeah, this isn't gonna be good, and I watched it and I was like, yeah, sure, like that was bad. But I was like, okay, whatever. Like they made that, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't like
They sure
outright
did.
bad. It was just
Yeah.
totally mediocre.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
how people keep saying on Twitter that special presentations are the future of Marvel, and from what I've seen so far,
They're
I keep
always
thinking
bad.
like I hope to God they aren't. Like they had better like improve the quality of these and the attention, because like
Yeah.
you hear about like Namor and Silver Surfer getting these things, and I'm like if they're gonna be like this shit, like can we not? Can we get them
Yeah.
something better? Because like those are really cool characters. Whereas these are just like silly holiday specials, and like it's fun, sure, but anyways, I also finished or caught up. It's not done yet with Barry, so I finished season 3, and that show is, oh my god, it's fantastic. And I just something I love about Barry is that it doesn't stretch its idea too thin. Like we're at season 3, and like some pretty monumental things change between every season, and I think season 4 is its last, and so I just love really contained stories. Yeah, so I gotta find a new show. Next week we wanted to do The Whale. There's no way it's here.
No.
I looked
God,
it up on
no.
Cineplex. It's not going to be here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we should have expected that.
Yeah.
So I think what we do is we do Pinocchio, because it releases on Netflix next week. I think that's the smart move.
It's good.
The other option is Empire of Light, but
I don't want to do that.
Another movie.
I also don't know if it's here, and I don't really care.
I don't
to
think it
see
looks good.
so far. But
I don't
It'll
wanna see
probably
that
be
on
here,
there.
but it's got mediocre reviews.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
another movie.
So looks like Pinocchio, probably, which is maybe the first time we've done. Oh no, Werewolf by Night and She-Hulk were the first streaming ones we did, but we haven't done like a proper like streaming movie before.
Right.
We don't have to spend money. Yay!
Yeah.
So go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Predator V Movies. Remember, we're gonna have a poll for what we should call that segment, the Metacritic Game. Also, why don't you tell us what you thought about this movie? Did you disagree with our takes? Sometimes people really do disagree with our takes, like very emphatically disagree with our takes. So why don't you do that, and we
They
can
agree
have
with me, though.
a healthy, kind
they're like Ryan.
conversation. Maybe don't call people names. Won't get more specific than that. Go check out my letterboxd at _AlexGordon_. I'll pass the mic to Aidan.
Yeah, you can check out my letterbox too. That's 810 Sunny. That's 810 SONNY.
Wombo.
Yep.
And also, his name is
he'll-
Wombo.
My name is Wombo.
I just said
Yeah.
that.
Wombo combo.
We'll pass the mic to Ryan.
Hi. My letterbox.
You look like a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Right now. Like,
What's the deal with Letterbox? What's
Leaning
the
on the
deal
mic
with
stand.
Spielberg?
That's Spiel guy.
Yeah, what a guy, what a fable guy.
EB Spills.
No, but you can check out my letterbox at RYOU. That's RU. And I'll pass the mic
Ryo.
over to Ryo. I'll pass the mic over to good old Peter.
I don't have
Does
anything
Peter
to plug.
plug anything? No, he
I don't.
doesn't.
I don't
Anyways.
plug.
Plug your
Right on.
letterbox.
So yeah, if you like this show, leave a review. You can do that on your platform of choice. We're hoping to get enough reviews on Spotify so that we can start seeing the number. I think it has to get like 10. Like if it hit the threshold of 10, then it starts showing people like, oh, this is a 5-star show or whatever. So
Yeah.
leave those 5-star reviews, get us past the threshold so it shows on Spotify. You can also do that on Apple Podcasts or wherever. You can give it a like on YouTube. And also tell your friends. If you like this show, tell your friends. Because that's how we get more listeners and grow our base. So until next time, I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aidan.
I'm Ryan.
And this was Predator Review Movies. See you next week. Beep, beep, beep,
Woo!
beep, beep.
Woo!